Chapter 2639. However, these demons discovered that the Green Lotus Hell was simply too vast. It was more than 10,000 times larger than before. It was as if the sea had transformed into mulberry fields. The famous capitals of the previous demon kingdoms were no longer in their memories. Hence, it became increasingly difficult to find these places with hidden treasures. Even so, this did not extinguish the excitement of these demons. They dug 3 feet into the ground in a frenzy to search for the treasures hidden in the capitals of the various demon kingdoms. This search took 7 days and 7 nights. Some of the demons were extremely excited. They had finally found the capital of one of the famous demon kingdoms. They had found the location of the treasury in the depths of the royal palace. After going through so much trouble, they finally opened the restrictions of the treasury. They wanted to go in and plunder without restraint. However, when these demons entered the treasury, they were all dumbfounded. All of them started cursing. F***CK. F***CK your grandpa. What the hell is going on? Didn't they say that the high-level demons didn't have time to take the treasury with them when they fled? Now there's not even a hair left in this treasury. It's even cleaner than your face. Are you kidding me? Who's here to clean up? A primordial demon cursed. It was so angry that it wanted to vomit blood. It was extremely depressed. It couldn't believe its eyes. It had never seen a treasury so thoroughly ransacked in its life. Spotless wasn't enough to describe the tidiness of this treasury. It was like looking in a mirror. They had said that they could take advantage of this opportunity to make a fortune. Now, what the F***CK were they going to make? All the treasures here had already been plundered by some bastard. Not even a hair was left. Haha, it's just an accident. If there are no treasures in this kingdom's royal palace, do you think there won't be treasures in the next kingdom's treasury? I don't believe that the high-level demons could really take all the treasures with them when they fled. No matter how cruel they were, they should have left some treasures behind. It's impossible for them to have been plundered so cleanly. One of the demons gritted its teeth. It was very unconvinced. Hence, this group of demons continued to search for the famous treasures of the demon kingdoms. However, the second, third, fourth, and fifth treasures were the same. Nothing was left. They couldn't even find a hell origin stone, let alone a precious hell magic treasure. The craziest thing was that even the door to the treasury and the walls made of precious materials from hell had been torn down by the high-level demons. They didn't even leave a single valuable stone behind. F***CK. Just how long have those higher demons been planning to run away? This is too much. They've taken away the entire treasury, not even leaving us a single stone. Demons are greedy to this extent, too despicable and shameless. Those high-level demons must have wanted to escape long ago. They knew that the void monsters would attack, so they dismantled the treasures in the vault in advance so that they could leave the hell of the Green Lotus at any time. No wonder the Blue Lotus Hell's Fiend army was defeated so quickly. With these cowards, traitors, and high-level fiend devils ready to pack up and run at any moment, there's no way we won't be defeated. What a disgrace. These high-level fiend devils are a disgrace to the hell of the Green Lotus. They're already planning to run away when the war has just started. Serves them right to be killed by the void monsters. I curse them to never get rich in this life, and to have bad luck after bad luck. Those F***king high-level demons will get their retribution sooner or later. They've enjoyed the best wealth and the most resources, but when danger comes, they're the first to run. Don't let me see those high-level demons again. Otherwise, I'll beat them up every time I see them. I won't rest until they're dead. Many of the fiend devils were infuriated as they gritted their teeth. They thought that they could make a fortune, but who would have thought that they couldn't even get a single hell source stone? How could they make a fortune? They instantly hated those fiend devils who ran away in advance and even took away all the treasures along the way. They really wanted to tear those high-level demons into pieces. They had clearly run away and couldn't even bear to leave behind some of the precious treasures. Yet, they took everything away. They clearly didn't want any benefits to go to them. They were even more stingy than Granddad and loved money as much as their lives. If those high-level demons appeared again, they would definitely fight them to the death. However, that wasn't the case. That was because the void monsters had attacked the hell of the Green Lotus too suddenly, and their speed was too fast. None of the high-level demons could react in time, and they didn't have the chance to prepare in advance. Therefore, when they ran away that day, there were many treasures left in every palace's treasury. However, these treasures were all taken away by Xia Ping using the power of the origin will of hell without alerting any of the restrictive formations. One could imagine that with the help of the origin will of the Green Lotus Hell, Xia Ping was simply an omnipotent god. He could sense every corner of the hell of the Green Lotus Hell, and he could see where the treasures were hidden and where the treasury was. Therefore, it was relatively easy for him to plunder. It was also because of this that when these fiend devils wanted to enter the treasury to look for treasures, they were stunned on the spot. Because there were no treasures left in the treasury, they were all taken away by Xia Ping. These fiend devils couldn't possibly know of Xia Ping's existence, so they could only blame it on those high-level demons who ran away. Of course, no matter how strong Xia Ping was, he couldn't possibly plunder every corner of the hell of the Green Lotus Hell. After all, it would take a lot of time and effort, and he didn't have that much time. But most importantly, after obtaining so many treasures, he didn't care about those small treasury anymore. It was like a billionaire looking down on a few cents on the ground. Therefore, these fiend devils were a little relieved. Although they couldn't eat the meat of Big Head, at least they could drink some soup. All of the fiend devils were very bitter. They gave up on those large treasury and turned to plunder those cities, and other weaker fiend devils didn't have the time to take away the valuables. Although these treasures were a little small, it wasn't like there was nothing. It was like how no matter how small a mosquito was, it still had some meat. However, at this moment, at the end of the hell, in an unknown space, there was a huge, dark, ancient lair that seemed to be the lair of countless void monsters. At the end of this lair, there was an ancient temple, and in the temple, there were huge, noble, and ancient dark thrones, carved with dense nomological patterns. They seemed to emit an unfathomable aura, like a dark vortex. Boom! In an instant, the dark thrones lit up, and huge balls of light appeared. These balls of light seemed to contain a great will. Third Sect Leader. Chapter 2640. Why did you wake us up? Don't you know that we're sleeping and recuperating? At this moment, an ancient voice rang out from the palace, constantly vibrating. It seemed to contain a strange power that distorted the void. Apologies, this is a last resort. The situation is urgent, so I had no choice but to wake you up. A voice spoke. Just what happened that requires us to be woken up? Could it be that something has happened in hell? Remember, if it's nothing major, don't blame us for being heartless. Speak. Just what happened that made you pay such a huge price to wake us up? Many voices rang out one after another, buzzing and buzzing. The inheritor of the true demon god has appeared. The voice spoke in a low voice. What did you say? It was just a simple sentence, but it shocked all the unknown existences on the scene. It was as if a storm had engulfed every one of them, and they were all extremely shocked. Impossible. Ever since the true demon god died, no second demon has been able to inherit his power. It's been countless years, and there's still no way for a second true demon god to be born. That's right. The conditions to inherit the true demon god's power are extremely harsh. Since ancient times, through countless eras, who knows how many demons have coveted the true demon god's power. They have tried to find the true demon god's inheritance shrine and obtain the inheritance, but they have all failed. Even we painstakingly worked hard, but to no avail. Where did you learn about this? Is it true or false? This matter is of great importance. You can't talk nonsense here, Yi Zichen said coldly. The voices of these existences were extremely solemn and murderous. Clearly, this news had shaken them. If it was true, then it was indeed worth paying a huge price to wake them up. It's true. Previously, I sent tens of billions of void monsters to destroy one of the higher planes of hell. The existence spoke in a low voice. At first, I thought it was just a simple battle. After countless years of planning, I already had a clear understanding of the defenses of the higher planes of hell, and even succeeded in conquering them. I even killed most of the demons there. I was about to destroy the higher planes of hell. However, who would have thought that the inheritor of the true demon god would appear and use the power of the true demon god to kill billions of my void monsters, causing the plan to fail on the verge of success. I even tried to launch a long-distance attack and use the power of the curse to curse the inheritor of the true demon god. However, I don't know what method he used, but my attack was easily nullified. It told him everything it knew, no matter how big or small. Hearing those words, many existences fell silent. All of them possessed special powers, so they could naturally determine if the other party was lying or not, and they could determine if it was true or false. But there was no doubt that this matter was true, and there was no falsification. Not bad. You've done well. The successor of the true demon god has actually appeared once again. This is indeed an extremely important matter. It's worth it to wake us up. A deep voice sounded. Never would I have thought that after millions and millions of epochs have passed, there would actually still be life forms capable of inheriting the power of the true demonic god. This is truly unimaginable, truly unbelievable. It's not strange. There are countless life forms in this world. Occasionally, one would appear and fulfill the requirements of a miracle. Then it would be born. I've long since expected this. Indeed, I did not think that the timing would be so bad. Of all times, it would appear when we're in slumber. If it wasn't for the laws of hell obstructing us, we could have personally taken action and killed this damned inheritor of the true demon god, eliminating any future troubles. Is this fate? Right now, fate is in the hands of the true demon god, not in our hands. No, so what if it's fate? Fate cannot stop our will. If we want someone dead, that person will not be able to continue living, even if they hide in the depths of hell. Many unknown existences discussed among themselves. Killing intent surged, and terrifying killing intent filled the depths of the void. They were extremely wary of the newly born inheritor of the true demon god and wanted to kill him as soon as possible. Why are you so wary of the inheritor of the true demon god? At this moment, the voice asked, in truth, this is not the first time that the inheritor of the true demon god has appeared. There are also some inheritors of powerful demon gods among them, but I didn't know that you were so wary. Is there a need to raise your guard to such an extent? It was very confused. No. You are still young. You don't know how terrifying the true demon god is. Although it is a demon god, it is also the most unique one among all the demon gods. That's right. It died too early and for too long. So long that even the demon gods have forgotten how terrifying the true demon god is. These existences lamented. I admit that the true demon god is indeed powerful, but its divine power is only in the area of keeping promises. As the god of contracts and justice, this kind of power doesn't seem to have much combat power. The voice said doubtfully, "Contracts and justice?" Hearing this, one of the existences immediately laughed loudly. Wrong, you're wrong. That guy is not some demon god of contracts and justice. It is a demon god that hates contracts and justice the most. It will abide by any contract that is beneficial to it and destroy any contract that is detrimental to it. All the contracts signed are for its benefit. That's right. Don't think that just because it is called the true demon god, it is a god of promises and justice. In fact, in the eyes of the gods, that guy is a god of deceit, the greatest and strongest god of hell. Another existence sneered. How is that possible? Could it possibly go against its own authority? The voice was shocked. No, justice, contracts, and promises are not its power. The true power of a true demon god is to deceive. One of the existences spoke. When the power of truth reaches its peak, it becomes falsehood. When the power of falsehood reaches its peak, it becomes the truth. Falsehood and falsehood change freely, turning falsehood into truth, turning truth into falsehood, reversing yin and yang, reversing black and white. That is the most powerful and terrifying power of the true demon god. What it says is the truth. Even if it was originally false, it must still be true. What it says is the law, like the words of gold and jade. It cannot be disobeyed. The kingdom it exists in is a false kingdom, a fairy tale kingdom, a mythical kingdom. Wherever it goes, all living beings are not allowed to lie, not allowed to go against their promises. Only it can. The power of the Lord can exempt everything. Voice after voice resounded, seemingly resonating with the law, as if countless believers were chanting, containing the unimaginable power of law. Chapter 26:41. Hearing these words, the voice was shocked. It did not expect the power of the true demon god to be so terrifying. Its true power was not in contracts and fairness, but in deception. If that was the case, then this power was quite terrifying. It was no wonder that countless demon gods were afraid of it. No, you are still young. You have not truly realized how terrifying the true demon god is. In the era of demon gods, the misfortune demon god was a demon god that brought endless misfortune to the world. It was like an apocalyptic natural disaster, but it was not the most terrifying existence. One of the existences said in a deep voice, because the power of the misfortune demon god is uncontrollable. It can bring misfortune, but it does not know where the misfortune will appear. This is because the nature of misfortune is unexpected. No one knows when and where it will appear. Even the misfortune demon god itself cannot control misfortune. This kind of uncontrollable power is not scary at all. However, the true demon god is different. It has the power of deception. It can deceive the people, the demon gods, and even the origin law of hell, turning the false into the true. One of its most terrifying abilities is to turn the false into the true. Whatever it says must be true. Even if it is false, it will definitely become true. No life will doubt it. Another being replied, "This kind of ability is quite terrifying. For example, it can replace one of us. As long as it kills one of us, it can easily replace us. We wouldn't even have any suspicions. That dead being would have all of its karma erased, and no life form would remember it. Perhaps it doesn't even need to kill one of us. It can directly create a new identity, which is our leader, that will also forcefully twist and change our perception, and we won't have any doubts, and will directly serve it wholeheartedly." What? The voice shuddered when it heard these words. Even though it had raised the danger of the true demon god to the peak, after hearing these existences, it felt that it had underestimated the true demon god. This kind of power deception was really unsolvable. It could deceive everything, even the origin law. It was too unbelievable. If the true demon god knew where its true body was and used this power to directly become its father, then wouldn't it have another father? Moreover, it would not doubt it and think that it was a matter of course. What kind of joke was this? This kind of ability was too abnormal. It was simply incomprehensible. At this moment, it finally understood why these existences were so afraid of the true demon god. Even it wanted to kill the true demon god immediately after learning about these abilities. It would never give the inheritor any chance to grow. But if the true demon god was so terrifying, why did it still fall? All of a sudden, the voice thought of this as well. To think that such a terrifying fiend celestial, with such an unfathomable ability, would still die. This was truly inconceivable. It was precisely because its abilities were too terrifying that it attracted the fear of the other gods. At the same time, the true demon god's actions were also too unbridled, causing the anger of the masses. In the end, the other gods joined forces to deal with it, killing it completely and burying it at the end of hell. Of course, other than the original demon god, no one knows what method was used to kill the true demon god. That existence said in a low voice, indicating that the true demon god had angered the masses and was killed by them. However, this matter did not leave behind a single word. Other than the demon gods who had participated in this plan, no other demon gods knew the details of this plan. Understand now. The successor of the true demon god must die. We must not give it a chance to grow. That voice was filled with killing intent. All right, then we'll be relying on you. We will also give you our greatest support. You can use our powers as you wish. Other plans can be put on hold, but the plan to kill the successor of the true demon god must be carried out. We must not give a chance to grow. That's right. This matter's priority has been raised to the highest level. Everything else can be put on hold. However, this matter needs to be urgent, but we can't be too hasty either. We must kill it in one strike. There's only one chance. If we miss this chance, and the successor of the true demon god becomes vigilant, I'm afraid we won't have another chance. Indeed, if its power seeps into our base, we'll be finished. We must not give it any chance to touch the source of our power. Many existences spoke. Don't worry, I'll definitely get this done. Nothing will go wrong. The successor of the true demon god will die without a doubt. That voice said in a low voice, filled with killing intent. All right, that's good. I'll be waiting for your good news. The voices of these existences seemed to be getting weaker. It was as though it took a lot of energy just to wake up and speak. Not long after, they fell asleep again. Green Lotus Hell, successor of the true demon god. You won't live for long. That voice exuded a chilling intent. It was as though the entire universe would be shaken in the near future. A few days later, Green Lotus Hell, demon god ruins, true divine palace. At this moment, Xiaoping finally ended his seclusion and woke up from his seclusion state. After this period of seclusion, he had completely grasped the power of his bloodline, the power of his divine sense, and his magic power. He felt that his current combat power was more than twice as strong as before he went into seclusion. There's a terrifying, killing intent targeting me? Who is it? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He left seclusion and immediately received a notification from the system, indicating that it had sensed killing intent and hatred coming from the end of space-time. I'm not sure. The distance is too far, and there's a strong power of law that blinds the system's senses. I'm temporarily unable to find out the other party's true identity. The system said, the only thing I know is that one of the killing intents had a conflict with Master and tried to kill Master. It's the Master behind the Void Monster. I see. Hearing this, Xiaoping nodded. The Master behind the Void Monster had a grudge against him and wanted to take the opportunity to kill him. Of course, he knew better than anyone. However, he didn't expect that even the system couldn't sense the killing intent. Perhaps it was because the distance was too far, but it was enough to prove that the enemy was powerful and extraordinary, especially the Master behind the Void Monster. It must be an unknown and terrifying existence. It was probably even more terrifying than the invincible demon. It was an unimaginable enemy. It seems that I still need to increase my cultivation as soon as possible and advance to the invincible realm. Otherwise, I won't have the ability to protect myself in future battles. Xiaoping clenched his fists. He originally thought that he was powerful enough after advancing to the ancient saint realm. However, he didn't expect that there would always be more powerful experts. There would always be countless experts appearing in this world. Chapter 2642. It seems like quite a number of demons have returned to the Green Lotus Hell. Xiaoping quickly gave up on investigating the Master behind the Void Monsters. After all, even if he found out who the Master was, he didn't have the ability to fight against such an enemy. Since that was the case, he decided to ignore it for now and think about it when he was stronger. Then, he sensed that the originally empty Green Lotus Hell was now filled with a large number of demons after he went into seclusion. Some of these demons came from the Green Lotus Hell. When they saw that there was no danger and that all the Void Monsters had been killed, they came back. Of course, a large number of them were demons from the medium hell planes. Because more than half of the high-level demons who occupied the high-level hell planes had died, there were very few high-level demons who occupied their original territories. More importantly, the Green Lotus Hell had expanded a lot, and the number of demons it could accommodate had increased by many times. Therefore, they naturally took the opportunity to occupy a part of the Green Lotus Hell's territory. After all, there were very few hell planes like the Green Lotus Hell that had experienced a great calamity and recovered to become an ownerless land. This was a great opportunity for the demons from other hell planes. Because of this, the demons from the medium hell planes were incomparably crazy. Every one of them led a large number of subordinates from the medium hell planes to occupy various places in the Green Lotus Hell. Because of this, the demons from the medium hell planes were incomparably crazy. All of them led a large number of subordinates from the medium hell planes to occupy various places in the Green Lotus Hell. Many of the medium hell planes were also mostly empty because too many demons had migrated to the Green Lotus Hell. Interesting, but this is indeed a good thing for the development of the Green Lotus Hell. Xiaoping touched his chin. To be honest, he was actually happy to see these demons migrate to the Green Lotus Hell. Because the more demons there were in the Green Lotus Hell, the better it would be for the development of the Green Lotus Hell. After these demons died, their souls and flesh energy would become a part of the Green Lotus Hell's origin, which would help the Green Lotus Hell to grow faster. Of course, most importantly, these demons were the natural barrier of the Green Lotus Hell. If there were more void monsters attacking, these devils would definitely take the lead. For the sake of their own lives, they would risk their lives to fight against these void monsters. This saved Xiaoping a lot of effort in defending the Green Lotus Hell. He did not need to do anything at all, and the demons living in the Green Lotus Hell would automatically volunteer for their own survival. Perhaps I should find an opportunity to travel to other high-level hells and spread the news of the hell of the Green Lotus. That way, I can attract a large number of invincible fiend devils to enter the hell of the Green Lotus. That will definitely speed up the growth of the hell of the Green Lotus. At the same time, it will also boost its essence power. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He felt that he might be able to use this opportunity to abduct a large number of high-level demons to live in the Green Lotus Hell. That was because he had offended the master behind the Void Monster. That fellow would definitely seek revenge for the smallest grievance. At that time, the Green Lotus Hell would be the first place to bear the brunt of the attack. It would definitely be a natural battlefield. Don't be fooled by the fact that there wasn't any movement at the moment. However, when there was movement, it would be a calamity for the hell of the Green Lotus. It was likely that the void monsters wouldn't make a move unless they were absolutely confident. However, if he could lure these high-level devils to the Green Lotus Hell, he would be able to greatly increase the Green Lotus Hell's combat power. When the void monsters attacked, these high-level devils would not be able to escape in time. They would also be forced to become his soldiers and fight for the Green Lotus Hell. Of course, he also believed in the attractiveness of the Green Lotus Hell. To the high-level devils, especially those who had been trapped in the invincible realm for an unknown period of time, the Green Lotus Hell, a place that had the embryonic form of the demon plane, had a huge attraction. If they wanted to advance further, they had to live in the demon plane. Therefore, as long as this news spread to the other high-level hell planes, there would definitely be a large number of high-level devils flocking to the Green Lotus Hell, as though they were on a pilgrimage. Even if only 1/10 of the high-level devils came to the Green Lotus Hell, it would still be a large number. It would be an extremely powerful help to the Green Lotus Hell. By the way, I wonder how Luna is doing on her side? All of a sudden, Xiaoping also thought of Luna, who had stayed in the Hell of Carlos. He had asked Luna to unify the entire Hell of Carlos. He didn't know how far the plan had progressed. Boom! Thinking of this, he moved his mind and performed telepathy. This was a unique means of communication that he and Luna had after they signed a contract. As long as the distance was not too far, they could communicate with each other telepathically. Master! Luna seemed to have sensed Xiaoping's telepathy. She was very excited, and her voice was transmitted to him. How are things in the Hell of Carlos? Xiaoping asked. Everything is going smoothly. Without the Fiend Devil Lords, the Fiend Devils in the Hell of Karoth aren't a match for the Burning Hell. It only took a month for us to sweep through the Hell of Karoth. Any Fiend Devil who submitted to us became our subordinates, and any who didn't submit were destroyed. That's right. Your strength seems to have increased. Xiaoping could sense that Luna's strength was much stronger than before. She had ascended from the near ancient realm to the middle ancient realm and had already mastered the law of time. Yes, after devouring dozens of middle ancient devils, I naturally ascended, Luna said. Luna said, how monstrous. Hearing this, Xiaoping couldn't help but sigh. Creatures like Luna were simply blessed by the heavens. As long as they killed enough, they could endlessly increase their strength as though there were no bottlenecks. No, it should be said that Luna didn't have any bottlenecks before ascending to the demon god realm. She was simply born to be the ruler of Hell. Hell was Luna's true stage. If she continued to grow like this, Luna would most likely become a demon god in Hell, whose name would strike terror in the hearts of all. Her strength and innate divine abilities were simply too unfathomable. Master, how are things on your side? Luna asked curiously. Very smoothly. Xiaoping smiled, then told Luna everything that had happened in the past few days. As expected of Master, you're so amazing. You've only been to a high-level plane of Hell once, but you've already gained control of the Green Lotus Hell and gained the acknowledgement of the Green Lotus Hell's essence. Luna couldn't help but praise Xiaoping. She felt more and more admiration for him. Chapter 26:43. But Master, those demons are too rude. How dare they wreak havoc in Master's territory? Luna clenched her fists in anger. In her eyes, the Green Lotus Hell was already her Master's territory. It was like her home. But those high-level demons were so rude. They wreaked havoc and killed everywhere. It was as if they treated the Green Lotus Hell as their own and were constantly fighting for territory. This made her extremely angry. Her cheeks puffed up. She felt like she had to teach those guys a lesson. Don't be angry. Those demons are top-notch cannon fodder. If the void monsters come again, how can we protect the Green Lotus Hell without them fighting valiantly? Xiaoping smiled. As the master of the Green Lotus Hell, he no longer cared about the gains and losses of a city. No matter how these high-level demons killed and fought for territory, they couldn't compete with him, the master of the Green Lotus Hell. In his eyes, the killing of these demons was just a game for power. If he wanted to, he could join in personally and flip the table. Master is right. These are all top-notch cannon fodder. They do need to be nurtured carefully. Hearing this, Luna also knew that her master was full of bad ideas. He was simply using these demons to the end, treating them as the biggest barrier of the Green Lotus Hell. In fact, the more high-level demons like them, the better. No matter how many there were, they wouldn't be able to shake Xiaoping's position. Of course, these high-level demons didn't know that the Green Lotus Hell's origin consciousness had already recognized him as its master. If they knew, they probably wouldn't dare to enter the Green Lotus Hell to fight for territory. It was because the Green Lotus Hell was a place without a master that they could be so unrestrained. These demons were so unrestrained, but they didn't know who was the mantis and who was the oriole. Master, because I advanced to the ancient middle realm, the power of my bloodline mystique has been greatly improved. I can split out more corpse beast clones, and my undying ability has also increased exponentially. Luna said that after advancing to the ancient middle realm, the power of her bloodline mystique had become even more terrifying, especially the survival ability of those corpse beast clones. They were even more monstrous than the void monsters. Back when she was still an immortal saint, the clones she split out could already survive in the extremely harsh environment of the Hell Void. Even if they encountered the Hell Monsoon, they wouldn't die. Now that she had advanced to the ancient middle realm, her clone's life-saving abilities had become even more monstrous. So, Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. I know that Master wants to attract a large number of evil demons to the Green Lotus Hell, especially those high-level evil demons. Luna said, but the high-level hells are too far away from each other. It's not easy for information to travel. Even if something like this happened in the Hell of the Green Lotus, it would take decades, centuries, or even millennia for the news to reach the other high-level hells. That's right. Indeed. Xiaoping nodded. That was the truth. In the modern universe, if it wasn't for the human race's universe virtual network, which could cover almost every corner of the universe, the flow of information wouldn't be so convenient. It was just like on Earth in his previous life. In ancient times, there were no telephones, fax machines, or other means of communication. It would take at least a few months to send a message from the south to the north. If they were in a remote place, they might not even receive news for several years. It was easy to imagine that communication methods were a great restriction on life. Sometimes, information was the key to everything. My clone can land on various planes in hell and act as a communication base. It can continuously spread information back and forth. That's a huge advantage. Luna said, at the same time, I can also spread information about the hell of the Green Lotus Hell to countless demons in the high-level hells. I believe they will be extremely tempted and swarm over. She said she could land on various high-level hells to spread information about the hell of the Green Lotus Hell and create rumors to attract high-level evil demons to the Green Lotus Hell. In the past, Luna couldn't do this because she was too weak. If her clone entered the high-level hells, it would probably be killed by high-level evil demons. However, things were different now. After advancing to the ancient middle realm, her clone's ability had greatly increased. Even invincible evil demons couldn't easily kill her clone. In this way, she could establish a foothold in various major hell planes. Not bad. That's a good idea. I'll leave this to you. Xiaoping's eyes lit up when he heard this. This was indeed the best way to make use of Luna's power. If he could take advantage of this opportunity to attract a large number of high-level evil demons over, the hell of the Green Lotus Hell would be rich. Even the master behind the Void Monster would have to think twice before dealing with the hell of the Green Lotus Hell. He felt that although the master behind the Void Monster was extremely powerful and had the might of a demon god, due to various restrictions, he couldn't unleash his power at all. It was like the giant dragons in the dragon world. They would be suppressed by the laws of hell. If that wasn't the case, with the power of the mysterious existence, he would have long destroyed all the forces in hell. Why would he need to borrow the power of the Void Monster to attack the various hell planes? Wasn't that a superfluous move? It was because he didn't have enough power that he needed to borrow the power of other forces and schemes. But Master, what kind of rumor should I spread? Luna was troubled. It's very simple. Just say that at the end of hell, it's called the Hell of the Green Lotus. It's the final resting place of the demon god, the graveyard of the gods. The weapons of the gods are left there, and the deepest secrets of hell are hidden there. There's an opportunity to become a demon god there, and there's a treasure vault that hides the treasures of hell. If you want to become a demon god, come to the Hell of the Green Lotus Hell. It's the last chance for an evil demon to become a god. Xiaoping said casually. Luna was dumbfounded when she heard this. She felt that these words were extremely persuasive. Even she would feel extremely tempted if she heard such a rumor, not to mention the other greedy, evil demons. Will those evil demons believe such a rumor? Luna blinked her beautiful eyes. It'll be enough if they believe it by 10% or even 1%. As long as the so-called rumor is repeated 1,000 times or 10,000 times, it'll become true. Even if it's a lie, it'll definitely become true. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and recalled his authority as the successor of the true demon god. The more rumors there were, the more benefits it would bring him. All right, I got it. Luna nodded. I'll leave it to you then. Xiaoping smiled. He felt that the matters in hell were more or less settled. It was time for him to return to the real universe. Chapter 2644. Another period of time passed. Under the effect of Luna's natural mystique, her billions of clones sped up and shuttled through the void, appearing in one high-level plane of hell after another. Before advancing to the ancient middle realm, Luna's clones weren't this fast. However, after advancing to the ancient middle realm and comprehending the space-time domain, their speed had increased by many times. Hence, the clone's speed towards other planes of hell was even faster. One by one, they appeared in various high-level hell planes, spreading rumors about the Hell of the Green Lotus in an attempt to attract all the devils to the Hell of the Green Lotus. The Green Lotus Hell is the final resting place of all demon gods. There are countless inheritances of demon gods there, as well as countless treasures. The ultimate secret of hell is there. The Green Lotus Hell is the strongest high-level plane of hell. It's the embryonic form of the demon god plane. The first demon god of hell will definitely be born there. It's vast and rich in materials. The Yellow Spring River runs from east to west. The sun of hell hangs high in the sky, and the bridge of helplessness stretches across the void. Countless void monsters have been buried there. It's the end, the land of death, and the land of reincarnation. Come on, if you want to become a demon god, you'll only have a glimmer of hope by entering the Green Lotus Hell. There are secrets and opportunities to become a god here. Luna spread one rumor after another. After the demons learned of these rumors, they spread like a plague in the ears of countless demons. Often, they didn't even know what was going on, but these rumors had already spread to all demons. The Green Lotus Hell? What kind of high-level plane of hell is that? Is it really so magical? It's the resting place of all demon gods, and it contains the secrets to become a god. If that's the case, it's really incredible. After hearing this news, some high-level demons felt their hearts palpitate. As demons, all of them had the ambition to become demon gods. All of them wanted to rule over countless other demons and become the true rulers. The strong ruled. This rule was practically engraved in the depths of their souls. If there was a way or a chance to become stronger, they would do it at all costs. Not to mention ordinary demons who wanted to become stronger. Even invincible demons were the same. It was almost in the blood of demons to be prepared for danger in times of peace. Not to mention, there were also the void monsters, their natural enemies and nemesis. Every demon felt that they were facing a great crisis of survival. This was like rowing a boat against the current. If they did not advance, they would be pushed back. I'm not sure. This news seems to have spread throughout the entire hell plane overnight. Many high-level demons are spreading similar news. I don't know where it came from. It's really strange. Some high-level demons were confused. It had never heard of the Hell of the Green Lotus before, but its name seemed to have spread across the entire continent in a single night. It thought it had fallen behind the times. I think I've heard the name Hell of the Green Lotus somewhere before. It's just an ordinary high-level hell plane. There aren't even any demons with the demon god's bloodline there. How did it become the final resting place of a demon god overnight? Just who was the one who spread this information? Some of the higher-level fiends were very knowledgeable and had lived for a very long time. It was unknown how many places they had visited in the infernal realm. The demons recalled the name of the Green Lotus Hell. However, in their minds, the Green Lotus Hell was just an ordinary high-level hell plane. Although it was considered a high-level hell plane that reigned above countless other hell planes, the problem was that it didn't have much of an advantage when compared to other high-level hell planes. In fact, the Green Lotus Hell was considered one of the low-end high-level hell planes. It wasn't the strongest. Otherwise, the Green Lotus Hell would have long been known by all demons. It wouldn't be as unknown as it was now. Is there a need to ask? This news must be fake. The final resting place of a demon god. It sounds so nice. If it was really true, it would have been occupied by those powerful demon kings a long time ago. It wouldn't be as unknown as it is now. I don't even know which low-level demon spread this news. How laughable. There's no need to pay attention to this kind of rumor. A high-level fiend sneered. It didn't believe this news at all. It felt that it had to be fake. That might not be true. However, there were also high-level demons who retorted. There must be a reason for the ripples on the surface of the lake. This news spread throughout the entire infernal plane in a short period of time, reaching the point where almost every demon knew about it. It was truly inconceivable. If it wasn't true, why would this news spread everywhere? It felt that there was a reason why this news had spread so quickly and so widely. If there was no reason at all, why was it the Green Lotus Hell and not other high-level hell planes? What a joke. A bunch of idiots. If that place was really that good, it would have been occupied by those demon kings a long time ago. Countless demons with the demon god's bloodline would have swarmed there. It would definitely become a place of war. It wouldn't be unknown like it is now. This must be fake news. The high-level fiends still didn't believe this kind of news of unknown origin. What you said does make sense. The problem is that there's no smoke without fire. If that place really hides the secret of a demon god and is a place to become a god, then what? Don't you think there's a 1 in 10,000 chance that it's true? A high-level fiend asked. The fiend was speechless. It indeed wasn't 100% sure. It just instinctively felt that this was fake news. The problem was that it was only 70 to 80% sure. It wasn't 100% sure. That's right. Even if there's only a small chance that this news is true, we should fight for it. If this news is true, but we're still foolishly staying here, won't we miss out on a huge opportunity? Indeed. Whether or not this news is true, won't we know once we head to the hell of the Green Lotus? In any case, we won't have much of a fortuitous encounter staying in the hell of the Green Lotus. We might as well head to the hell of the Green Lotus. That's right. This is an opportunity to become a god. How can we miss it? If this rumor is true and we miss it, we'll probably regret it for the rest of our lives. That's right. We're just going to take a look. If it's fake, then it won't be too late to come back. We won't lose anything anyway. We'll just lose some time. If it's true, then it'll be incredible. That's true. Regardless of whether it's true or not, we should go take a look. The high-level fiends discussed among themselves. Naturally, they were skeptical about this rumor. However, high-level fiends like them had lived for far too long. They were practically immortal. Their first reaction to this rumor wasn't to deny it. Instead, they wanted to verify it. In any case, time was just a small problem for them. Even if they went to the Green Lotus Hell and found out that this news was fake, it would only be a waste of time. They wouldn't lose anything at all. Therefore, many high-level fiends were eager to go to the Green Lotus Hell. Third Sect Leader. Chapter 2645. At this moment, many invincible demons from the high-level planes of hell were gathered together. The news of the Green Lotus Hell wasn't just known to ordinary demons. It had also caused a huge commotion among the invincible demons. In fact, as invincible demons, they knew more information than ordinary demons. They had even heard about the Green Lotus Hell being attacked by tens of billions of void monsters. However, they were too far away from the Green Lotus Hell. Even if they wanted to help, they couldn't. These invincible demons had thought that the Green Lotus Hell was completely finished and would disappear in the long river of history. They hadn't expected that not only was the Green Lotus Hell not destroyed, but it had even become stronger. This matter had indeed shocked many invincible demons. Interesting. The final resting place of the demon god, the home of all hell's secrets, the embryonic form of the demon god's plane, the stronghold of the demon god's treasure. Since when did the Green Lotus Hell have such a name? How interesting. Babalu, what do you think of this? An invincible demon said with a cackle. He looked at the invincible demon Babalu next to him. This demon was an invincible demon who had escaped from the Green Lotus Hell. It could be said that he was the king of demons who had stayed in the Green Lotus Hell for countless years. In terms of familiarity with the Green Lotus Hell, no one could match him. I'm not too sure myself, but the news spread like wildfire to hundreds of thousands of higher hell planes in the span of a single night. And it's spreading like wildfire. The mastermind behind the scenes is truly terrifying. How'd he do it? That's right, Yang Qi said with a frown. The invincible demon Babalu's expression was solemn. To be honest, he didn't have any prejudice against this rumor. But as invincible demons who stood at the top of hell, they could see through the phenomenon and see the truth. They didn't see the rumor itself, but the power behind it. Even though they were invincible demons, they didn't know how long it would take for them to spread a piece of news. It could take years, decades, or even centuries. But now, the rumor had spread to hundreds of thousands of high hell planes in just a few days, and there were countless demons from medium and low hell planes who knew about it. It was as if there was a mysterious, ancient, and tyrannical demon force operating in their own planes of hell at the same time, releasing the news at almost the same time. It could be said that there was an organization, influence, power, and discipline. To be honest, such a mysterious force made these invincible demons terrified. After all, they believed that they had been operating in their respective infernal planes for a long time, and that they should have long been forged to be like an impenetrable iron bucket. But now that this mysterious force had suddenly appeared and spread the news to every corner of hell, these invincible demons immediately felt as if they were sitting on pins and needles. No matter what, no one wanted to have a mysterious force hiding in their nest that could stab them in the back at any time. This was what they were most worried about. The problem was that no matter how much they mobilized their power and searched, they could not find the source of the rumor. They could not find any demons who spread the news. It was as if the mysterious force did not exist at all, and it was purely their imagination. This made them even more worried, and their faces were solemn. It seems like hell is really mysterious. There are countless ancient organizations and mysterious powers hiding in the shadows, waiting for the right time to come, said one of the invincible fiend devils. His voice seemed to contain an inconceivable power that caused the magical laws to resonate. Perhaps the strange changes in the Hell of the Green Lotus are an opportunity for a new era. The arrival of a new era? What new era is it? Asked an invincible fiend devil curiously. Do you even need to ask? It's naturally the era of the demon god. The invincible fiend devil smiled. As soon as he said this, the eyes of all the invincible fiend devils present shone with a frightening light. It was as if they could see through the void, and the magical laws of hell all around them trembled. If one were to talk about who wanted to become a demon god, then which of the invincible fiend devils present didn't want to? Whoever became a fiend devil first would be the ruler of this era. He would definitely become the master of all of hell and truly unify hell. If that's the case, why would the mysterious force spread such a rumor? What benefits does it bring them? Said a fiend devil gravely. I'm not sure. There's not enough information, so I can't make a judgment. A crimson fiend devil narrowed his eyes. But no matter what the mysterious force wants to do, and what their goal is, the Hell of the Green Lotus will definitely become the center of the vortex. That place will also become a battleground. It's not hard to imagine that there must be a world-shaking secret hidden there. Although it might not be as the rumors say, such a secret is still no small matter. Indeed, the Hell of the Green Lotus has completely changed. It's become a little unfamiliar, and it's a little frightening. The invincible fiend devil Barbaru couldn't help but nod. He had returned to the Hell of the Green Lotus once before. When he saw the current scene, he was completely stunned. This wasn't the Hell of the Green Lotus that he remembered at all. At this moment, the Hell of the Green Lotus seemed to have been reborn from the flames. It had undergone a world-shaking change. The terrifying source energy of hell, the unbreakable source laws of hell, and the hellish sun that seemed to be able to incinerate all living things were all signs of the shocking changes in the Hell of the Green Lotus. In the past, he could still become the ruler of the Hell of the Green Lotus and lead an area. But now he was afraid. He felt as if a new era had arrived. If they couldn't improve in this era, then they would be eliminated. It seems like we've reached a consensus. Let's form an alliance. In the future, fighting alone will only lead to death. That's right. The strength of a single fiend devil is too weak. Only by being united can we survive in this era of great competition. There must be a huge secret in the Hell of the Green Lotus. Perhaps there is a secret to becoming a demon god. Such a secret will definitely be grasped by us, and no one will be able to take it away. We must enter the Hell of the Green Lotus as soon as possible and seize the initiative. If those invincible fiend devils with the demon god's bloodline find out about this, I'm afraid it won't be up to us to make decisions. No matter what the mysterious force's goal is, the Hell of the Green Lotus will definitely become one of the focal points of hell. The invincible fiend devils discussed. They had already seen the situation clearly. Right now, the entire hell was in a huge whirlpool. This matter had completely broken the balance of the major forces in hell. This time, no one could avoid the whirlpool. It was like a great calamity that would engulf every invincible fiend devil. Chapter 2646. In the main universe. At this moment, Xiaoping had already left the underworld and returned to the main universe. What happened in Hell of the Green Lotus had nothing to do with him for the time being. As long as Hell of the Green Lotus was not destroyed, there would be no problem for him as the master of Hell of the Green Lotus. As for Luna, she did not need his concern at all. With Luna's life-saving abilities, even an invincible demon might not be able to kill her easily. Therefore, he allowed Luna to do whatever she wanted in hell. No matter what happened, he would be able to handle it. Swoosh! At the moment, stars were sailing in the mystic zones of the central universe. The spaceship had already left the dragon world and was heading towards the depths of the mystic zones of the central universe. Corinne, where are we going this time? Xiaoping asked. Based on your current immemorial ancient strength, going to an ordinary island in the mystic zones won't be of much use anymore. Therefore, I'm planning to go to one of the largest human gathering places in the mystic zones, the Black-Yellow Continent. Corinne said in a deep voice. Black-Yellow Continent? What's that place? Xiaoping raised his brows when he heard that. It's one of the most powerful continents in the mystic zones. It's said that every corner of this continent is filled with mysterious black-yellow qi. If ordinary living beings were to cultivate in this continent, they would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. Corinne said, of course, cultivating in the Black-Yellow Continent isn't just that. It also contains a large number of rare treasures and countless universe secret realms. By the way, the sound vein stone that you wanted to get seems to be produced in one of the universe secret realms in the Black-Yellow Continent. There are countless universe-grade ores there. There's such a place? Xiaoping's interest was piqued. To be honest, he had paid a huge price to get the sound vein stone back then. If he wasn't a sage of the absolute beginning shrine of the human race, it wouldn't have been that easy to get the sound vein stone. That was because it was a strategic ore. It was a treasure that couldn't be bought even with money. It was only a treasure supplied by the human race, unless it was a human sage or a vassal race of the human race. Otherwise, the sages of other races wouldn't be able to get their hands on similar ores. From this, one could see the importance of a large force. This was the so-called a large tree provides shade. Of course there is. This is a famous land in the mystic zones. It has attracted the saints of all the races in the universe. Even the true, top-notch experts would come to the Black-Yellow Continent to adventure. Corinne sighed with emotion and said, in the mysterious Yellow Continent, ancient sages can only be regarded as low-level characters, while ancient sages can be regarded as the real elites, and even invincible sages appear from time to time. As for the other sages, they're just cannon fodder and could die at any time. Therefore, most low-level sages wouldn't go to such a dangerous place like the Black-Yellow Continent. It was extremely emotional. If it had been the previous old master, the myriad star sages, he would not have been qualified to enter the Black-Yellow Continent. Even if he was given the chance, he would not have had the guts to do so. After all, it wasn't a matter of courage, but whether or not they could survive. This place was truly a place where tens of thousands of races fought for hegemony. There were countless killings, and the void would shatter at every turn and the ages would be destroyed. The slightest ripple would cause low-level saints to be shaken to death, the kind that didn't have a complete corpse. If that's the case, isn't the Black-Yellow Continent very dangerous? If an invincible saint were to fight, would this continent be able to withstand it? Xiaoping asked. That's not a problem. Corinne said, that continent is filled with black-yellow qi everywhere. It's extremely heavy, and the density of the land is extremely tyrannical. Even if an invincible saint were to fight on this continent, it wouldn't cause any damage to this continent. In fact, thousands of battles between invincible saints have taken place on this black-yellow continent, but so far, the black-yellow continent is still safe and sound and scathed. However, although the forces of our human race have a huge advantage in the black-yellow continent, because we came early, we also occupied a large number of resource-rich places. But even so, the other peak races were very jealous and joined forces to attack the black-yellow continent, forcing the human race to sign a contract and forcibly occupy 1/3 of the territory. Therefore, there are still very fierce battles going on in the black-yellow continent. In order to compete for resources, who knows how many killings have been carried out. We must be very careful on this trip to the black-yellow continent. But the demons of the abyss are about to invade the modern universe. Will there still be a war among the races in the universe? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. Large-scale wars naturally won't happen. But if there are local conflicts or even personal grievances between saints, then even the higher-ups can't handle it. Corinne said, moreover, the speed of the battle between saints is too fast. I'm afraid that within a second, hundreds of thousands of collisions have been carried out. Often, victory or defeat is decided in an instant. Therefore, even if other saints discover any waves, the battle would have already ended long ago, and there would be no time to stop it. He indicated that the danger of the black-yellow continent must not be underestimated. Even if it was now facing the invasion of the demons of the abyss, the contradictions between the races in the universe could easily be resolved. In fact, even within the human race, many saints were not united. Often, because of many grievances, they would often not come into contact with each other, and even fight to the death. Interesting, then let's go to the black-yellow continent to take a look. But how long will it take to get to the black-yellow continent? Xiaoping touched his chin. Well, because the journey is relatively far, I'm afraid it will take at least 7 days to arrive. Corinne calculated the time. Okay, Xiaoping nodded. In fact, his concept of time had become a lot more indifferent. Let alone 7 days. Even 7 years or 700 years would pass in a flash. Am I going to break through? At this moment, Xiaoping's heart skipped a beat. As though he was blessed, he could feel that the powers, mental power, laws, and other powers within his body seemed to have reached their peak. It was as though the conditions were right, and he was about to break through from immemorial ancient state initial stage to immemorial ancient state middle stage. In fact, this was something to be expected as well. Previously, he had fused with the source of hell of the Green Lotus and obtained a tremendous amount of source energy. Later on, because of the heavenly tribulation, he had devoured a tremendous amount of source energy. This caused the powers and consciousness power within his body to improve by leaps and bounds. His 9 purple mansions were filled with a tremendous amount of source energy, and they were almost at the level of perfection. It was just that in order to stabilize the power of the Hell's Golden Crow bloodline that had suddenly surged in his body, he had temporarily suppressed the speed at which he was breaking through to immemorial ancient state middle stage. But now, there was no way for him to suppress it anymore. It was as though he had been holding it in for so long that he could no longer hold it in. Remember the mobile website, Chapter 2650, Black-Yellow Continent, page 1/1. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 2647. World of the Classic of Mountains and Seas in order to break through to immemorial ancient state middle stage. Xiaoping had returned to the Classic of Mountains and Seas to cultivate in seclusion. This was the safest place where he could not be disturbed by external factors. He sat cross-legged on the praying mat and channeled the powers within his body. One big circulation after another, he seemed to be channeling all the power within his body. With his body as the center, the endless source energy of the universe within 200,000 light years seemed to be attracted by the power within his body and surged towards his body. It was as though his body had turned into a gigantic energy whirlpool that was swirling like chaos. All the pores on his body opened up as though he had turned into a rock that was greedily devouring the source energy of the universe from all directions. It was as though an energy storm had formed in this place, causing the entire space to tremble. Thankfully, this place was a supreme-grade saint weapon, the Classic of Mountains and Seas, which could cover up all the anomalies. If this were any other place, such a huge cultivation anomaly would definitely be noticed by other sages. At that time, there might even be sages who would come to investigate. This was also the reason why Xiaoping did not want to cultivate outside. Each time he broke through, the commotion would be too huge. Under such stimulation, the boundless dark golden powers within his body could not wait any longer. Like a flood, they broke through the bottleneck of his purple mansion space instantly. Boom! Instantly, he felt as though his entire body and even his soul were trembling. It was as though the voice of the great Tao was being released and the bottleneck on his body was being broken through. The 9 purple mansion spaces continued to expand out into the void. It was as though the size of the purple mansion space was increasing and the power of laws within the space was strengthening as well. It was as though his soul and power had risen to another level. Immemorial ancient state middle stage. Xiaoping's eyes shone brightly. Without a doubt, he had already broken through the bottleneck and stepped into the middle stage of immemorial ancient state. In truth, if it was an ordinary immemorial ancient state sage, they would need hundreds of thousands of years or even millions of years of accumulation to break through a small bottleneck. If they did not have enough accumulation, stopping for hundreds of millions of years was a small matter. Only someone like Xia Ping, who had so many miraculous encounters and obtained the support of the source energy of Hell of Green Lotus, as well as devouring a large amount of Thunder Calamity energy, could improve at such a godly speed. If the other immemorial ancient sages knew of Xia Ping's improvement speed, they would definitely go crazy with jealousy. My magic power is increasing. Xia Ping sensed that the 9 purple mansions in the depths of a sea of consciousness were rapidly expanding outwards. A tremendous amount of origin energy was converted into magic power and surged into the purple mansions. In just a few breaths of time, his 9 purple kingdom spaces were almost filled with the source energy in his body. It could be said that the spiritual power in his body had at least doubled. The magic power in his body was like a vast ocean, flowing to every corner of his body. At this moment, he could feel the warmth in his body. Every single strand of magic power had fused with his bloodline and soul as one. There was no distinction between them, and he could understand them completely. My divine sense has also strengthened. Xia Ping could feel that his second power, the power of his divine sense, had also improved tremendously. Originally, his divine sense could cover a range of 200,000 light years. But now, it had expanded to a range of 300,000 light years. In fact, the further one cultivated, the slower the speed of improvement would be, but the absolute value of the increase in power would be many times greater than in the early stages. Even if the immemorial ancient sages knew how strong Xia Ping's divine sense was right now, they would still be shocked. This was an extremely shocking power of the divine sense. With just a single thought, Xia Ping could probably travel 300,000 light years in the blink of an eye. That was so fast that it could scare people to death. Furthermore, it did not require too much spiritual power. It was just like a natural mystic skill. Just this speed alone was not something that ordinary immemorial ancient sages could compare with. As for immemorial ancient sages of the same level, there was no need to talk about them at all. They would not be a match for Xia Ping at all. The difference was something that could not be measured with numbers. The laws of creation are strengthening as well. However, Xia Ping's advancement to immemorial ancient middle stage this time around was not the most important thing. The most important thing was the addition of the laws of creation shards within his body. Thanks to the increase in the spiritual power and divine sense within his body, his comprehension of the laws of creation had reached another level as well. It was as though he had comprehended more than half of the laws of creation. Walala, one piece after another, the laws of creation shards gathered rapidly in the depths of his consciousness. There was a mysterious, and profound aura that contained an unfathomable power. At that moment, he realized that there were also hundreds of laws of creation shards appearing in the depths of his consciousness. They were all gathered from the source power of the countless laws in the void of the universe. His body was also surging with a massive amount of creation chi. It was as though any single strand of creation chi could change all substances at will and completely change the structure of various objects. It contained a powerful power of creation. If his laws of creation were to reach the perfected state, he would be able to comprehend the laws of the world that only immemorial ancient sages could and truly reach the immemorial ancient realm. Time, space, creation. Xia Ping sat down cross-legged on the ground and closed his eyes. He quietly comprehended the 3 powers of laws in the depths of his consciousness. A dark golden clock was ticking, a hexagonal crystal was shining, and countless strands of creation energy formed a chaotic whirlpool. These 3 laws were different from one another, but they were connected to one another. In reality, after becoming an immemorial ancient sage and comprehending the laws of creation, it did not mean that he had abandoned the laws of space-time. It was because he had comprehended the laws of creation that his laws of space-time became even stronger and was able to get closer to the source laws of the universe. Time, space, creation, and other laws were inseparable. They were all a part of the fundamental laws that formed this universe. They were indispensable and closely related. Only by mastering and comprehending all these laws could one truly comprehend the laws of the world and reach the level of being able to create a small kiliocosm out of nothing. Moreover, each time the laws of creation improved, his comprehension of the laws of space-time would deepen. At the same time, as Xiaoping was quietly digesting the power that he had attained the immemorial ancient intermediate stage, the world of the classic of mountains and seas was also undergoing a transformation. This was because the world of the classic of mountains and seas had plundered too many resources and treasures from the hell of the Green Lotus. These resources were also completely devoured by the item spirit Green Bull and integrated into the classic of mountains and seas. Because of this, the classic of mountains and seas was also undergoing another transformation. Chapter 2648. The classic of mountains and seas has evolved. The artifact spirit was extremely excited. To be honest, after becoming a peerless saint artifact, it was extremely difficult to improve even once. One had to obtain fortuitous encounters to have a chance to improve. Otherwise, even if countless eras passed, the peerless saint artifact wouldn't improve at all. It was as if its strength had been completely fixed. To be honest, it was even more difficult for a peerless saint artifact to break through than a saint artifact. But once it did, its strength would be incomparably strong and unimaginable. And now, the classic of mountains and seas had obtained this opportunity to evolve. Originally, the Green Ox had thought that after obtaining most of the resources in the Hell of the Green Lotus, devouring and plundering large amounts of Hell Source Stones, it would only increase the power of the classic of mountains and seas by a small portion. But it was wrong. Very wrong. The source power from Hell just happened to make up for what the classic of mountains and seas lacked. The classic of mountains and seas was full of vitality. It was filled with a thick aura of chaos, desolation, and creation. It was like the celestial realm. This was the pinnacle of life. But if the vitality was too strong, there would be problems. This was the so-called too much was as bad as not enough. It could even lead to a decline. But obtaining the source power from Hell was equivalent to obtaining a huge amount of death power. This was the most authentic death power from Hell, representing the pinnacle of death. Right now, in the world of the classic of mountains and seas, the power of life and death erupted at the same time, as if forming a balance. Although the power of life in the world of the classic of mountains and seas was huge, the Hell of the Green Lotus was a high-level plane of hell that had nurtured hundreds of invincible demons. One could imagine the resources there. Even compared to the resources accumulated over countless years in the world of the classic of mountains and seas, it was not inferior. When the world of the classic of mountains and seas devoured the power of death, it immediately underwent a world-shaking change. The huge amount of power from Hell quickly fused into every corner of the classic of mountains and seas. Even the power of death fused into the earth and kept descending. Then, the power of Hell was nurtured for a period of time, fusing with the power of the laws of space and seas, and immediately underwent a world-shaking change. Rumble in the blink of an eye, one world after another was born within the mountain and sea scripture. It was as if Pangu had split heaven and earth apart. However, these were not ordinary worlds, but worlds that contained immense essence power of Hell. It would not be an exaggeration to call these newly born worlds small hells. 18 of these hellish worlds were born, and they could be called the 18 hellish worlds. Every level of hell was completely different. It nurtured different hellish energy and had different hellish laws. The world of the 33 heavens, in addition to the 18 hells, formed the current world of the classic of mountains and seas. It was as if the power of life and death, yin and yang, had reached a balance. This also made the world of the classic of mountains and seas more stable. The various laws were also more powerful, at least 10 times stronger. Now, even if the invincible realm saint was imprisoned in the world of the classic of mountains and seas, no matter how hard the saint tried, he would not be able to escape from the classic of mountains and seas. At this moment, the power of the laws of space and time of the classic of mountains and seas was different from before. The laws of life and death seemed to be born in the mountain and sea scripture, causing the mountain and sea scripture to become more and more complete laws of the universe. It seemed to have traces of the embryonic form of a divine artifact. If the mountain and sea scripture were to be taken out now, the power of the mountain and sea scripture would be enough to rank within the top 10 of the countless peerless sacred artifacts that had existed throughout the ages. When the classic of mountains and seas smashed down, the sky and earth were turned upside down. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. No one could stop it. At this moment, the green ox also became more and more unfathomable. It was as if countless laws of the world had gathered in its body, seemingly forming its meridians, blood vessels, bones, and so on. Its body seemed to become more and more solid, as if it had become a physical entity. If the classic of mountains and seas could advance to the level of a divine artifact, then the artifact's spirit green ox, which was originally just a spiritual body, would use the countless laws of the world as its foundation to nurture a body of flesh and blood, becoming a true life of flesh and blood. Interesting, has the classic of mountains and seas evolved again? Looks like there's hope for it to become a divine artifact. At that moment, Xia Ping, who was in secluded cultivation, opened his eyes as well. He could also sense the earth-shaking changes that were happening to the scripture of mountains and seas. He discovered that this peerless saint artifact of his had become even more powerful. It was probably comparable to the primordial heavenly dragon talisman at its peak. My lord, the 18 levels of hell in the classic of mountains and seas have only just been born. That alone isn't enough. We need a large number of hellish creatures to fill them up. With the power of death in them, the power of the 18 levels of hell can continue to grow. The green ox said, just nurturing the world was not enough. If there were no lives in this world, it would be dead. If there were no evil spirits and devils in hell, what kind of hell would it be? That's simple. Right now, the world of hell doesn't lack anything. There's no lack of devils, asuras, and evil spirits. If you're willing, you can head to the Green Lotus Hell and capture a large number of hellish creatures to bring here. Xiaoping touched his chin and said, Yes, my lord. That's what I'm thinking too. The green ox was excited. It felt like it was one of the creators of the world of the classic of mountains and seas. It watched this world grow from a barren land to a prosperous one, from a dead silence to a prosperous one. This was the process of nurturing life, and it was filled with endless emotions. At this moment, the changes in the classic of mountains and seas naturally could not be hidden from the creatures in the world of the classic of mountains and seas, especially the giant dragons, phoenixes, cheilants, and other divine beasts that were imprisoned in this place, as well as the various primordial species. They were also extremely sensitive to the laws of the world. To be honest, they had been studying how to escape from the world of the classic of mountains and seas for the past few days. They also wanted to carefully comprehend the power of the laws of this world, hoping to find a flaw. However, when they sensed the changes in the void, their hearts lit up. F***, this world has evolved again. That's too fast. How long has it been? Even flying ships can't move so fast. What's going on with this world? It's evolving so fast. Just what did it eat? It's over, it's over. It's completely over. The space-time laws here are even more stable. Previously, there was still some hope of escaping, but now it's gone. It's completely gone. Based on how stable the space-time laws of this world are, even if an invincible saint were to enter this place, he would probably be imprisoned until he dies, let alone us. There's no way to escape at all. Moreover, the area of this world has expanded once again. It has expanded by at least 10 times. Damn human, what did that be Astra's star do? Why is he so perverted? The many divine beasts cursed and cursed. They were half dead from anger. but there was nothing they could do. Chapter 2649. On the other hand, that was the 33rd level of the classic of Mountains and Seas world, located at the center. Xiao Jin, Tanmeng Lu, Chong Xiaoqian, Destiny Dragon Betty, Formless Dragon Kalita, and the other children were also here. They could also feel the changes in the classic of Mountains and Seas. They could feel the origin energy around them exploding once again. It was as if the origin energy was free as it surged madly into their bodies. Every time this world evolved, the creatures living in this world would obtain endless benefits. Cultivating in this place would be thousands of times faster than cultivating in other places. Moreover, they did not need to work hard at all. They just had to stay here and cultivate. It was like a pig sitting on the wind. No matter how fat it was, it could still fly. All the children could feel the magic power in their bodies increasing rapidly. It was equivalent to cultivating for thousands of years. Their cultivation speed was like riding on a spaceship. Not bad. Looks like Xiao Xia has been working hard. You actually evolved the classic of Mountains and Seas again, as expected of my regent. If I continue to work hard, I will soon become an invincible sage and the strongest king of the black hole worm. Chong Xiaoqian said in a matured manner, revealing the demeanor of a leader. She addressed Xia Ping as Little Xia. Ever since she became an immortal sage, her mentality had become a little inflated. She walked like a crab. She was afraid that others did not know that she was an immortal sage. She was just short of pasting the words immortal sage on her forehead. She felt that she already had the mentality of a king and was no longer as petty as before. She had already begun to have a broad mind and was beginning to be tolerant of others. A true king might not be the strongest or the smartest, but they would definitely be the best at using people. There was no doubt that she, Chong Xiaoqian, was the king who appointed people based on their merits. In short, as long as she hugged the Prince Regent's thigh, cough cough, that's not right, she just needed to control the Prince Regent's ability. After she became an invincible sage, she would punish the regent to clean the toilet and take revenge. As the saying goes, a king's revenge could take 10 years, 100 years, no, even 100 million years. Now is the time for her to endure. But before Chong Xiaoqian could start fantasizing about punishing Xia Ping to clean the toilet, a small hand slapped her head, pulling her back from her fantasy world. Who is so daring to hit this king's head? You even dare to hit this king's head? Are you tired of living? Chong Xiaoqian was furious. Was her prestige as a black hole insect not enough? There was actually a traitor who dared to hit her head. This was simply too despicable. She had to kill one to warn the others. But as soon as she turned around, she saw Xiao Jin looking at her expressionlessly. Chong Xiaoqian was instantly terrified. She had no choice. For the sake of the game, she owed Xiao Jin a lot of money. Moreover, she had to pay 90% of the money back, which made her head hurt. If this went on, she wouldn't be able to pay off the interest even if she sold the entire kingdom. Of course, she also tried to go back on her word. She thought that with her strength as an undying saint, it would be easy for her to go back on her word. Who would dare to ask the immortal saint for money? Wouldn't they be tired of living? But soon, she discovered that she was no match for Xiao Jin. Xiao Jin's strength was too monstrous. His strength was simply unfathomable. He transformed into countless weapons and beat her up whenever he saw her, causing her head to swell up. In the end, she expressed that she would definitely pay off the debt on time and would not default on the interest. Xiao Jin, why did you hit me? Chong Xiaoqian gritted her teeth. Don't be rude to my master. Xiao Jin looked at Chong Xiaoqian expressionlessly. What? Hearing this, Chong Xiaoqian became even more furious. This B***starred Xiao Jin actually hit her for that shameless Prince Regent. How despicable. Hey, why do you have to be so hostile? We're all good friends. I recently had a good idea. Why don't we leave the classic of Mountains and Seas world and go to other places? At this moment, Tanmeng Lu walked over and put on the appearance of a mediator. She intercepted Xiao Jin and Chong Xiaoqian and told them her next step of the plan. Other places? Could it be the human world? Hearing this, Destiny Dragon Betty's eyes instantly lit up. To be honest, she had always lived in the dragon world and had basically never been to the worlds of other races. Even though she came to the classic of mountains and seas world, there were still too few living beings there. It was not lively enough at all. After playing for a while, they got a little bored. If they could go to other worlds, it would be too interesting. No. Let's go to the demon race world. It's said that the demon race is the top race with the most types of races. What's so good about the demon race? Let's go to the insect race world. There are countless types of insects there. Get lost. Who would like insects? That's too disgusting. Yeah, let's go to the machine race world. Steel is the romance of giant dragons. I think it's better to sleep at home. Sleeping is the happiest thing in the world. One after another, the young dragons ran overexcitedly and said where they wanted to go. Big Sister Menglu, why do you suddenly want to go to other places? Didn't you want to stay at home until the end of time? What made you change so much? Memory Dragon, Mabel looked at Tan Menglu suspiciously. She now understood Tan Menglu's personality quite well. If this fellow had enough food to eat and enough fun games to play, she would not come out for thousands of years. But now, she actually changed and wanted to go to other places to play. No matter how she looked at it, she did not look like the kind of person who liked to play everywhere. There must be something fishy. Just what is it that caused such a huge change in me? Of course, it's to meet an online friend. Hearing this, Tan Menglu's expression turned gloomy. Her body seemed to be surrounded by black gas, filled with resentment like a female ghost. She clenched her fists and cracked them. That scoundrel, I'm not fat, just busted provoked me in the game. Because he has many brothers, he actually killed me every time he saw me. That scoundrel killed me hundreds of times at the revival point. He only knows how to ambush me every day. He has no gaming experience at all. That scoundrel's personality is really annoying. He even said that he would come over to beat me up if he had the chance. He even told me his real address and said that whoever didn't come would be a grandson. With my bad temper, how could I tolerate that scoundrel? If I don't beat that scoundrel to death this time, I will not eat for 8 hours today. She swore. What a vicious oath. She can even make such a deadly oath. It seems like Sister Menglu is serious. That online friend, I'm not fat, just busty, actually made Big Sister Menglu so angry that she wants to beat him up through the internet. Looks like Big Sister Menglu is really angry. Hearing such a vicious oath, everyone was shocked. They did not expect Tan Menglu to make such a vicious oath. Chapter 2650. I remember now. That be asterisk starred, I'm not fat, just plump isn't just one person. At this moment, Chong Xiaoqian yelled, that be asterisk starred has a few scoundrel friends who colluded with her and did all sorts of evil things in the game world. That be asterisk starred also has a guy who seems to be called Remember. You're not only poor, but also ugly. That guy has a vicious mouth and provokes us all day long. He's the most immoral one. She seemed to have recalled this matter as well, as if she had recalled something bad in the past. She was instantly filled with anger. So it's that group of people. Invisible Dragon Kalita gritted her teeth. I think the most despicable of those guys is the third B asterisk star who seems to be called Sadness is not a reason to cry. Stupidity is. That B asterisk starred always wants to mock our intelligence and shows off in front of us all day long just because he knows more things. If you're going to beat them up, please bring me along. She clenched her fists and recalled the group of people she met in the game. She was so angry that she wanted to catch those B asterisk stards and give them a good beating. Yes, those B asterisk starred are really bad. They seem to have nothing better to do all day long and just stay in the game to wander around. If I didn't know that they were players, I would have thought that they were game administrators. Those guys must be a group of jobless people who have nothing to do. They're definitely the type of people who only know how to ask for money from their families. They don't contribute anything to society. I've long seen through those B asterisk cheese personalities. They only know how to eat, sleep, and eat every day. They only know how to be keyboard warriors and attack others everywhere. Bring me along. I want to beat them up for a long time, and I'll beat them up every time I see them. Many dragon whelps were also filled with righteous indignation. Obviously, after being brought into the game world by Tam and Lu, they had also encountered those vicious game bullies and suffered a lot. Now, All of them were extremely angry. Hearing these words, Destiny Dragon Betty was speechless, and the corner of her mouth twitched. She felt that Taminglu and the others were also family bugs and were not very different from those guys just now. How could these good-for-nothings have the cheek to say such things about others? However, such people were not without merits. The only merit was that they were thick-skinned. But where are those guys? Chong Xiaoqian asked. I've spent a few days and have already grasped their whereabouts. They seem to be staying in a certain star field in the human world. Let's fly over and beat them up, then come back after we vent our anger. Tan Menglu told him about her intel. But this place seems to be in some kind of mystic zone. I don't know how far it is from the human world. Even if we take a spaceship, it will take decades to get back. By then, it will be too late. Chong Xiaoqian was very clear of Xiaoping's current location. That's why we need Lord Green Bull's help. It said that Lord Green Bull knows all the teleportation points in the universe. If Lord Green Bull helps, we can teleport to the vicinity of the human star region. Tan Menglu indicated that she had already thought of a plan. But that hateful regent won't let us escape so easily, right? Chong Xiaoqian recalled that hateful, cruel, and evil regent Xiaoping. It doesn't matter. That guy won't care so much about us. Besides, it won't take us too long to leave. If we discuss it seriously, he'll definitely agree. Tan Menglu said, All right, let's give it a try. Chong Xiaoqian nodded. Following that, Chong Xiaoqian and the others quickly found the green oxen. They walked over with pitiful looks on their faces, as if they were abandoned puppies. Grandpa Green Bull, to be honest, we have a request. Chong Xiaoqian said. Oh, what is it? The Green Bull smiled and stroked his white beard. It's like this. We want to go to the human world to have some fun. Before Chong Xiaoqian could speak, Tan Menglu spoke up impatiently. She did not want Chong Xiaoqian to spill the beans. If others found out that she brought a group of underlings to beat up netizens, she would definitely be arrested. Go to the human world? Hearing this, the Green Bull was stunned. He did not expect Chong Xiaoqian and the rest to suddenly have such an idea. That's right. We've stayed here for a long time and want to go to other places to broaden our horizons. Didn't you say in class that reading 10,000 books is not as good as traveling 10,000 miles? Tan Menglu said casually. I didn't expect you, who usually sleeps in class, to know a few idioms. The Green Bull smiled faintly. Tan Menglu blushed like a student who was caught doing something naughty by the teacher. However, your request is not unreasonable. You guys have been working hard in class recently. It's not impossible for you guys to take a break occasionally. The Green Bull changed the topic. Really? Chong Xiaoqian and the rest were extremely excited. They widened their eyes and looked at the Green Bull. Yes, of course. This is also a reward for your hard work. Of course, you can't go out for too long. The Green Bull set a deadline with them. They could not exceed a month. Of course. Chong Xiaoqian and the rest naturally nodded vigorously. By the way, where do you guys want to go? The Green Bull asked. We want to go to the human world, the northern universe's Wui star region. Tan Menglu immediately told him the address she wanted to go. I see. Wui star region. It's indeed a good place for a holiday. Coincidentally, there's a teleportation array built nearby that can send you guys there. The Green Bull waved his hand. The light of countless stars gathered together and seemed to form a starry book. He flipped through the book and seemed to sense the teleportation locations all over the universe. In fact, the humans of Yinhuang planet had traveled all over the universe. Under Xiaoping's orders, they had also built interdomain teleportation arrays in secret places to connect with the world of the classic of mountains and seas. In this way, they could use the world of the classic of mountains and seas as a transit point and teleport to all corners of the universe. This was also the unique ability of the classic of mountains and seas that had been upgraded to a peerless sacred artifact, interdomain teleportation. Until today, in the entire universe, countless places that the humans of Yinhuang continent had passed by, unique spatial coordinates were left behind for the convenience of teleportation through the classic of mountains and seas. Well, I finally found it. I wish you guys a pleasant journey. The green bull smiled and waved his hand. In an instant, a tyrannical and mysterious space-time power instantly enveloped Little Gold, Chong Xiaoqian, Tan Menglu, Betty, and the other children. They did not know what was happening. Suddenly, space-time changed. Boom! In the next second, Chong Xiaoqian and the other children disappeared from the world of the classic of mountains and seas and were directly teleported to the Wui star region. Without these mischievous brats, it seems that the classic of mountains and seas will be much quieter during this period of time. Occasionally, adults also need to take a vacation. The green bull smiled slightly. He was in a very good mood. 2K Reading Network. Chapter 2651. A few days later, the multitude star was finally about to arrive at the black-yellow continent. Xiaoping had also woken up from his seclusion. After this period of seclusion, he could be considered to have grasped the sudden increase in his powers and soul power. He had completely mastered the power of immemorial ancient middle stage. The combat power that he could unleash right now was at least 30% stronger than before. Moreover, he also realized that the speed at which he condensed his powers had become faster because his body still stored a large amount of the Green Lotus Hell's source energy. The source energy was simply too massive, and he couldn't consume it all within a short period of time. Therefore, most of the source energy was still stored in his body and released slowly. This way, his body would slowly adapt to it, and he wouldn't explode from the sudden increase in power. Therefore, during this period of time, his cultivation of powers had also improved by leaps and bounds. It was as if his powers were increasing at every moment, and he was cultivating at all times. It was as if his cultivation speed of powers had increased by 1,000 times. Little Gold and the rest went on vacation? At this time, Xiaoping also heard about Little Gold and the rest from the Green Cow. He nodded. It's good to let them go on vacation. However, be careful and don't let them cause trouble. To be honest, he wasn't worried about their safety. Given their strength, there wouldn't be any sages who could kill them if they headed to the human world. The only thing he was worried about was how much trouble these troublemakers would cause. Don't worry, I've already left spatial coordinates on them. If they encounter any danger, I can teleport them back instantly. Moreover, I'll keep an eye on them at all times to prevent them from causing trouble. The Green Cow indicated that he had taken safety measures. That's good. Xiaoping nodded. He then looked at the scene outside through the multitude star. He saw a huge, seemingly boundless land in front of him. He had no idea how big the land was. It was like a chaotic beast crawling in the void, giving off an eternal aura. Without a doubt, the land in front of him was the famous black-yellow continent. It was also one of the most famous lands in the mystic zones that had nurtured countless supreme experts. This was the true place where all the races fought for supremacy. Only the ancient sages had the right to stand in this place. Experts who were weaker than the ancient sages would often encounter life-threatening dangers upon entering the black-yellow continent. This is the black-yellow continent. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. Even though he was very far away, he could sense the tyrannical nature of this piece of land through his divine sense. It was emitting a rich cosmic origin aura. At the same time, endless streams of Xianhuang energy enveloped the continent, causing it to transform into a unique world of Xianhuang. Thick essence energy filled every corner. To be honest, he felt that the black-yellow continent was not inferior to a high-level hell plane like the Green Lotus Hell. However, such a black-yellow continent could not produce so many invincible realm sages like the Hell of Green Lotus. Of course, this also had a lot to do with time. In fact, not much time had passed since the great apocalypse in the real universe. Perhaps to mortals, it was an unimaginably long time. But to the universe, it was still in its infancy, or perhaps just a child. Since the end of the demonic god era, who knew how much time had passed in the infernal realm? The number of experts that had been nurtured in the infernal realm was many times more than in the real universe. Beep! At this moment, the stars immediately connected to a signal that was transmitted from afar. This is a territory ruled by humans. We have detected the signal of a friendly spaceship. Please show your identity immediately. Otherwise, you will be regarded as an enemy and will be shot down on the spot. The other party sent a warning signal. Any spaceship that approached the black-yellow continent would be detected by the detection system that the humans had set up in the black-yellow continent. Every sage that entered the black-yellow continent had to register and confirm their identity. I'm Fiend, a sage of the human race. I request to enter the black-yellow continent. Xiaoping knew that this was a normal identity verification. After all, this was a place where thousands of races fought for hegemony. God knew how many race experts lived in this place, and these races had all sorts of incredible abilities. If they were not careful, the human race's base camp might be invaded by these race experts. By then, there might be unpredictable dangers. The human experts had no choice but to be careful. Beep, beep. The visitor is Fiend, a sage of the human race. Identity confirmed. Soul wave confirmed. Genetic information confirmed. Spaceship model confirmed. There are no dangerous items on the spaceship, and no foreign races are hiding. Confirm safe, safe, safe. Permission granted. In the blink of an eye, invisible space-time waves engulfed the stars one after another. They scanned the stars inside and out dozens of times, as if they were confirming Xiaoping's identity and whether there were any dangerous items hidden on the spaceship. In just 3 minutes, the black-yellow continent's human detection system seemed to have detected that the stars did not have any dangerous items or enemies from other races. Hence, they allowed Xiaoping to pass. Welcome to the black-yellow continent, Sage Fiend. I'm Guide X136-6564. I'm here to serve you. Sage Fiend, may I know what you need help with? At this moment, a clear voice was heard from the transmission. It seemed to be the customer service of the black-yellow continent. Bring my spaceship to the largest human city in the black-yellow continent. I want to rest for a while. Xiaoping stated his request. Confirm Sage Fiend's request. You need to bring your spaceship to the largest human city in the black-yellow continent, Black-Yellow City. Please wait for a moment. The system will connect to your spaceship immediately. Sage Fiend, please don't resist. This is the highest defense system of the human race. There won't be any danger, Guide X136-6564 said. Rumble. In the blink of an eye, a gigantic light pillar shot out from the depths of the black-yellow continent in just a second, enveloping the myriad stars in an instant. Immediately, the stars felt a power that distorted space-time. It seemed like a moving space teleportation formation had appeared within a range of tens of thousands of kilometers. Swoosh! In the next second, under the guidance of the beam of light, the stars seemed to pass through hundreds and thousands of layers of space and layers of restriction formations. They were finally teleported to the depths of the black-yellow continent and arrived at the largest human city in the continent, the famous Black-Yellow City. Have we arrived? Xiaoping felt a change in space-time. His spaceship seemed to have been teleported from outside the black-yellow continent to the port of the Black-Yellow City by the strongest defense system of the human race. He saw many powerful spaceships appearing around the port. There were millions of them. 2K Reading Network. Chapter 2652. So many mortals. Xiaoping scanned with his consciousness and immediately sensed that there were many mortals below the immortal sage level. There were also many immortal sages, near ancient sages, middle ancient sages, etc. However, he had heard that the Xianwang continent was an extremely dangerous place. Why were there so many mortals here? Most of them weren't even ancient sages. Rumble, however, his brazen scanning of the surroundings attracted the enmity of many sages from all directions. After all, in the world of cultivators, releasing one's consciousness so brazenly was a form of provocation. After all, these sages had their own privacy and would definitely not want their information to be spied on by others. Scanning with one's consciousness was akin to spying on them. Therefore, under normal circumstances, other sages would not use their consciousness to check on others. Unless they were enemies or in a war situation, it would only be allowed. However, Xiaoping had stayed in the underworld for far too long and was used to the unbridled nature of the underworld. There were massacres everywhere and enemies were everywhere. He had to keep his consciousness open at all times so that he could survive and avoid being ambushed by other demons. After all, the underworld was way too dangerous. There were ambushes everywhere, and it was extremely dangerous. If one was not vigilant enough, they would be killed by the enemies instantly and turned to dust. He had just returned to the modern world and was not used to this world that was slightly more peaceful than hell. Therefore, he had forgotten about such a rule. He thought that he was still in the underworld and had not expected such a rule to exist. Walhalla, in the depths of the void, those offended sages snorted coldly. One after another, powerful consciousness powers shot out like light pillars, as though they wanted to teach Xia Ping a lesson. These sages wanted this lad to know that this was not a place where he could casually use his consciousness powers. Seems like I'm in trouble. At this moment, Xia Ping came to his senses. It seemed like he was no longer in the underworld and was in the human world. This place could be considered as the base of the human race. It was extremely safe, and there was no need for him to sense the surroundings. However, it was too late to say anything now. Even if he explained a reason, the other sages would not listen to such an explanation. Of course, against such a powerful consciousness attack, he was not bothered at all. Ever since he had leveled up to immemorial ancient state middle stage, his soul power was way stronger than before. Even the mental attacks of ordinary immemorial pinnacle sages would not be able to do anything to him. Perhaps only a saint who had advanced to the invincible realm could pose a threat to him. The problem was that an invincible saint would not easily appear in a place like this. The ones attacking him were at most primordial saints, and they were not even at the pinnacle of the primordial realm. Therefore, he naturally did not think much of it. He merely stood where he was without moving, allowing these sages to attack him. Bang, bang, bang. In the blink of an eye, a series of tyrannical mental energy blasted down, causing the void to distort. It was as if a mental storm had been generated. All of it bombarded Xia Ping's soul. Immediately, these divine sense attacks seemed to have sunk into the ocean, and all the mental power disappeared without a trace, disappearing completely. There was simply not a single drop left. Xia Ping stood where he was, calm and collected, as if nothing had happened just now. What? Many of the sages nearby were shocked, and their expressions were extremely ugly. They had not expected this troublemaker to be so strong and terrifying. So many sages had launched mental attacks at the same time, and yet they were unable to do anything to this mysterious saint. Clearly, when such divine sense powers were stacked, even ordinary immemorial sages would be severely injured, let alone other sages. They would definitely be taught a terrible lesson. Yet, this person had taken on the mental attacks of so many sages head-on, and yet he was unharmed. He was still standing before everyone, full of vigor and vitality. It was truly unbelievable. But no matter what, the truth was the truth. This person's strength was probably unfathomable, and that was why such a bizarre thing had happened. Immediately, many of the sages stopped probing, and they all retreated. After all, the rules were only for the weak and did not apply to the strong. Although the scanning of the strong's divine sense was very overbearing, and it violated the taboo of every sage, the weak could only take it head-on and could not resist. The invisible battle just now was enough to prove the strength of this mysterious saint. His strength was definitely unfathomable, and they were not willing to offend such a powerful and mysterious saint for no reason. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In the blink of an eye, these sages quickly left the place, no longer paying attention to Xia Ping. They're all gone. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He sensed that in the depths of the void, streams of powerful divine sense powers curled up, and they seemed to have disappeared without a trace. It seemed that the battle just now had proven his strength, and he had tacitly agreed to his privileges here. Ha, friend, what a powerful soul power to be able to withstand the mental attacks of so many sages. It's really amazing. I wonder if you can come over and have a gathering? At that moment, another powerful mental intent was transmitted from the depths of the void. This time, it gave off a friendly intent and extended an invitation to Xia Ping. Xiaoping sensed that there was an ancient sage in a green Taoist robe standing in the distance. This person's strength had reached the peak of the immemorial realm, and he was only one step away from the invincible realm. This ancient person's body was filled with the fluctuations of the world, as if the laws within his body had reached a complete state, and his strength seemed to be independent, isolated from the laws of the surrounding universe. There was no doubt that this sage was definitely a top sage of the human clan, second only to invincible sages and other old monsters. "Who are you?" Xiaoping asked. "I'm Jiyu Sage, the deputy city lord of Xianwang City." The green-robed old man stroked his white beard and revealed his identity. "Deputy city lord of Xianwang City?" Upon hearing this, Xiaoping was shocked. It seemed that he had met the local tyrant of the Xianwang continent. He had come to the Xianwang continent to hunt for treasures and obtain cultivation resources. However, if he was not familiar with the Xianwang continent, he would definitely miss out on many treasures. However, if he could get to know the deputy city lord of Xianwang City, he would definitely be able to get a lot of crucial information from him, which would be of great benefit to his survival in the Xianwang City. All right. At the thought of this, Xiaoping nodded and uttered a single word. "Come over then. I'll set up a banquet for you on the spaceship." The green-robed old man, Jiyu Sage, smiled and seemed to be in good mood. Swoosh! In a flash, Xiaoping put away the stars and flew towards the green-robed old man's spaceship. Chapter 2653. At the port of Xianwang City, on a flying ship, at this moment, Xiaoping appeared in the living room of the flying ship. The old man in green robes, Jiyu Sheng, had been waiting for Xiaoping in the flying ship for a long time. In the living room, there was a tea table with a teapot on it that gave off a fragrant scent. It was as though this tea was one of the best tea leaves in the world, as though it was a sacred medicine known as Bodhi tea. Legend had it that after this tea was soaked, even a sage would experience a huge boost in their power of comprehension, allowing them to comprehend the source laws of the universe with half the effort. A single tale of such tea was priceless. Even a sage would find it hard to get their hands on it. Such tea leaves were way too precious, and one might not be able to buy them, even if one had the money. But this Jiyu Sheng was using it as an ordinary tea leaf to soak and serve as guests. One could only imagine how rich this Jiyu Sheng was. "Little friend, I wonder what's your name? I don't think we've met before. Have you just arrived at Xianhuang continent?" Jiyu Sheng asked curiously. "My name is Feng Du," Xiaoping said his name. "You're right. I've just arrived at Xianhuang continent. I heard that there are countless treasures in Xianhuang continent, and that it's a great place to cultivate. Therefore, I came to take a look." Feng Du. That's a familiar name, as though I've heard it somewhere before. But that's all right. Since we're here at Xianhuang continent, we're all one big family. Jiyu Sheng stroked his white beard and smiled in a friendly manner. "To think that you would have such strength even though you've just arrived at Xianhuang continent. Seems like you've been through quite a lot, little friend." His eyes were sharp, and he could tell that Xiaoping's strength was only at immemorial ancient state middle stage. Compared to immemorial ancient state sages, he was still far off. But to think that he could defend against the consciousness attacks of so many sages and even immemorial ancient state sages with just the strength of immemorial ancient state sages was pretty incredible. Without enough talent and foundation, one wouldn't be able to do something like this. "You're flattering me. It's just a small trick," Xiaoping said humbly. "Since Jiyu Sheng is the vice city lord of Xianhuang City, you must be extremely familiar with Xianhuang continent. I have something that I wish to ask." "Oh, what questions do you have, fellow Taoist Feng Du? Feel free to ask. If I know anything, I'll definitely tell you everything I know." The Jiyu Saint raised his teacup and took a sip. According to the previous information, the Black-Yellow continent is an extremely dangerous place. Even ancient sages would not be able to keep their lives if they were to enter it. We have to be extremely careful. Why do I see a large number of ordinary people in the surroundings today? Xiaoping asked. So that's how it is. It's no wonder that fellow Taoist Feng Du is puzzled. The Jiyu Saint laughed heartily upon hearing this. Actually, that's all in the past. Before the human race occupied the Black-Yellow continent, this place was a battleground for the military. Many peak races engaged in earth-shattering battles here, and the battles were so intense that even the sun and moon lost their luster. Later on, the human tribe transported a large number of resources to the Black-Yellow continent, which finally allowed the Black-Yellow city to establish a foothold in the Black-Yellow continent. At that time, the ancient sages were just cannon fodder, and many of them had fallen. However, ever since the construction of the Black-Yellow city was completed, the human tribe had a foothold on this continent. Then, after countless eras of accumulation, they built one war fortress after another. This also built a strong rear for the human tribe, which would not be easily breached by other forces. With a strong rear, the human tribe naturally gained a foothold and continued to invade the Black-Yellow continent in all directions, building one city after another for the human tribe. It was extremely safe. After countless battles, the human tribe finally defeated countless races and almost occupied most of the areas of the Black-Yellow continent. At the same time, with these safe places, the sages married and gave birth to children. These children would also marry and give birth to more descendants. Over time, hundreds of millions of eras passed, and a large number of ordinary people appeared in the Black-Yellow continent. They also spread throughout every human city in the Black-Yellow continent, becoming the cornerstone of the human tribe in the Black-Yellow continent. I see. Xiaoping nodded and came to a sudden realization. He finally understood the origin of these ordinary people. They were the descendants of the sages. No wonder they could stay in the Black-Yellow continent since they were born. This also allowed the descendants of the sages to obtain endless benefits. Their cultivation speed was much faster than other places, and it was also much easier for them to become immortal sages. Moreover, if the human tribe had occupied the Black-Yellow continent in the early stages, it would naturally be extremely dangerous. Every sage was a powerful combat force, and they had to worry about being attacked by the sages of other races at all times. However, now that the human tribe had established a foothold in the Black-Yellow continent, these ordinary people could naturally cultivate, live peacefully in the human cities. As long as these ordinary people did not court death and leave the human cities, they would not die in the Black-Yellow continent. It could be said that the information Xiaoping obtained was a little outdated and could not keep up with the times. Boom! At this moment, the entire Black-Yellow city's port shook violently. The void trembled and buzzed. A space-time wormhole seemed to have opened up in the distance. What's going on? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and sensed an extremely powerful aura coming from the dark space-time wormhole. Fellow Fengdu, you're in luck. One of the deputy city lords of our Black-Yellow city, Gu Rulai, has returned. This person is the most talented human tribe sage since the birth of our Black-Yellow continent. He has only cultivated for 180 million years, but he has already advanced to the peak of the archaic ancient realm. He is on par with me. Ji Saint smiled faintly. Ancient sage Gu Rulai. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and stared at the huge space-time wormhole in front of him. Rumble. In an instant, 9 flood dragons appeared at the end of the space-time wormhole. Each of them was extremely powerful, and their chi and blood were like the scorching sun in the sky. Their cultivation had obviously reached the peak of the archaic ancient realm. Golden ropes were tied around their bodies, and they were pulling a dark golden carriage behind them. These 9 flood dragons that had reached the peak of the archaic ancient realm were extremely powerful. They would be highly valued by any race, and they were definitely experts at the level of an elder. However, they were actually pulling a carriage willingly. A white-robed young man sat on the carriage. The swastika symbol appeared between his brows, emitting a faint golden light as if it contained the infinite mysteries of the universe. If one looked at it, it seemed as if the swastika symbol had suddenly turned into a third eye. Just by sitting on the carriage, it seemed as if he was the entire universe. All the laws of time and space revolve around him, and he was the only one in the world. The white-robed young man seemed to have sensed something. He turned around and looked. His indifferent eyes seemed to penetrate the restrictions of time and space, looking directly at Xiaoping and Ji Saint. He looked down from above, as if he was a god that had been born since ancient times. Chapter 26:54. Suddenly, Xia Ping felt as if he was being peeped at. It was as if the third eye contained the power to see through illusions and even penetrate the essence of the soul. Dong! He immediately operated the magic power in his body and formed a layer of energy shield. It seemed to transform into a dense barrier of laws that instantly blocked the power. Immediately, the mysterious power was unable to peep into his body and was isolated outside the barrier of laws. This phenomenon naturally attracted the attention of the primordial saint, Gu Rulai. A glimmer of light appeared in his eyes, as if he was a little surprised that an ancient saint could actually block the peeping of his third eye. Even primordial saints of the same level couldn't block his third eye. Ji Saint, it's been a long time. I didn't expect to meet you here. The voice of the young man in white, Gu Rulai, traveled over. The power of the sound wave penetrated the void and directly transmitted into the spaceship of the Ji Saint, but no one outside could hear it. Gu Rulai, it's indeed been a long time. Now that you've returned to the bound of Yellow City, I reckon that you've obtained a lot of benefits in the secret realm. I'm afraid it's just a matter of time before you advance to the invincible realm. The Ji Saint stroked his white beard. He could sense that Gu Rulai's aura was clearly stronger than before. It was as if he had reached the peak of the primordial realm, and his body gave off the aura of the laws of life and death. If he continued to cultivate, advancing to the invincible realm would be a matter of time. In that case, there would be one more invincible realm saint in the human race. This was also a great thing for the human race. However, he was also extremely depressed. After all, he had been trapped in the primordial realm for God knows how many eras, and until now, there was still no hope of breaking through. How could he be in a good mood when a saint who was younger than him had broken through? Of course, he wouldn't show this kind of emotion casually. Then I'll accept Ji Saint's auspicious words. By the way, this saint is quite rare. I don't think I've seen him before. I wonder if you can introduce him to me? Gu Rulai looked at Xia Ping with a profound gaze. Oh, this is Fengdu, saint, a saint of the human race who just came to the bound of Yellow Continent. I knew that he was extraordinary, so I invited him over for a gathering. The Ji Saint smiled. You know that I like to make friends the most. He introduced Xia Ping to Gu Rulai. Fengdu Saint? This name is indeed unfamiliar. Seems like he should be a human race saint who has just advanced to the immemorial ancient state not too long ago. Not only that, he seems to be even younger than me. Gu Rulai said, What? He's even younger than you? Ancient sage. It seems that Sage Fengdu is also a super genius of our human race. Why haven't I heard of him before? Hearing this, Ji Sheng was astonished because Gu Rulai was only 180 million years old. Not only was he a junior among the primordial sages, he wasn't considered old even among the near-ancient sages and undying sages. After all, it was extremely difficult for one to break through every single cultivation state. It was common for one to be stuck for hundreds of millions of years at a time. If one were to reach the immemorial ancient state before reaching 180 million years old, one could indeed be considered as a super genius. Even if he couldn't compare to ancient Rulai, he wouldn't be too far off. Previously, I've always been cultivating in a secret region of the universe. I only came to the mystic zones after breaking through, so it's only natural that you're not familiar with me, Xiaoping explained. I see. Ji Yuxing nodded his head. He accepted such an explanation. In truth, such things were common. Some sages would be trapped in secret regions of the universe. Only by breaking through would they have a chance to break free. This sage Fengdu was probably the same. It was just that he didn't need to experience much to reach the immemorial ancient state. His talent was truly shocking. In that case, Sage Fengdu is also considered my junior. This is the first time we've met, so I didn't bring many gifts. I shall give you this bottle of Yin Yang Nirvana pill. Gu Rulai took out a bottle of pills and gave it to Xiaoping as a gift. Yin Yang Nirvana pill. Xiaoping blinked his eyes. He wasn't familiar with this pill. My God, Gu Rulai, you're truly a big spender. Hearing this, Ji Yusheng was astonished. He seemed to be filled with jealousy. Back then, I asked you for a bottle of yin yang nirvana pill and was willing to pay a huge price for it. However, you weren't willing to trade. Now that you've met a junior, you're willing to take out such a precious bottle of pills. Is the difference between two people so huge? He thumped his chest, filled with jealousy. This is how it should be. Sage Fiend has such talent and potential, so he's worthy of a bottle of yin yang nirvana pill. If Sage Fiend can break through again and become an ancient saint or even invincible saint, it will be a huge help to our human race. Why would I, Gurulai, be stingy with a bottle of yin yang nirvana pill? Gurulai smiled slightly. Yin yang nirvana pill? What kind of pill is this? Xiaoping asked curiously. This isn't an incredible pill. It's a pill unique to Sage Gu. Don't be fooled by his young age. He's a famous pill refinement grandmaster among the human race. His name shook the entire universe, and countless saints had sought him out to refine pills. Ji Yusheng explained, and this bottle of yin yang nirvana pill was refined by Sage Gu using his unique methods. He used water of extreme yin and fire of extreme yang, as well as 108 types of saint medicine. If this pill is consumed, the soul will enter a state of death and death, where yin and yang revolve. In such a state, comprehending the origin laws of the universe would be at least 10,000 times faster. If some saints who are at a bottleneck were to consume this pill, they would probably enter a state of enlightenment and comprehend the vast origin laws of the universe, improving by leaps and bounds. From this, you can imagine how precious this pill is. God knows how many saints want to get their hands on this bottle, but it's a pity that Sage Gu isn't willing to sell it, meaning that it's not for sale. He explained the value of this bottle of pills and how extraordinary it was. This pill is too precious. I really can't afford it. Hearing these words, Xiaoping immediately decided to decline. He always felt that there wouldn't be a free lunch in the world, so it was strange that Sage Gu was willing to give him such a precious pill. Of course, more importantly, he was very rich and didn't lack such pills. I, Gurulai, have never intended to take back what I've given away. Gurulai waved his hand, indicating that this was a gift that he had given away and he had no intention of taking it back. However, Xiaoping continued to decline, expressing that he didn't deserve it. When Ji Yusheng saw this, his heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. He really wanted to take the pill away on Xiaoping's behalf, but if this bastard didn't want it, he could accept it reluctantly. Chapter 2655. After persisting for a few minutes, Xiaoping still couldn't refuse. Under the persuasion of a Ji Yu saint, he could only reluctantly accept the bottle of elixirs. However, he also made up his mind that unless it was necessary, he wouldn't touch the bottle of elixirs. Well, in that case, I still have something to do, so I won't disturb you for now. I live in a manor in the north of Xianwang City. If you need anything, feel free to look for me there. Gurulai was very satisfied when he saw Xiaoping accept his gift. However, he still had many things to do, so he couldn't stay here for too long. After saying that, he ordered the nine-headed dragon to leave. Boom, in the blink of an eye, the nine-headed flood dragon pulled Gurulai and disappeared from the place. I didn't expect Gurulai to be such a warm-hearted person. Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. Indeed, this old man has never seen such a person. He's a genius that only appears once in countless eras, and his cultivation speed is extremely fast, second only to that peerless monster Xiaoping, but he doesn't have any arrogance. Instead, he's incomparably humble, low-key, and likes to make friends everywhere. He has friends everywhere in Xianwang City. The Ji Yu saint sighed. Moreover, after he refines the yin-yang nirvana pill, he never sells it. Instead, he gives it to peerless geniuses that he thinks highly of, and many of them have received his grace. In fact, his reputation isn't just limited to the human race. He seems to have quite a good relationship with all the major races in the universe, and even the saints of the major races. He simply has friends all over the world. He was very impressed by Gurulai. He had only lived for 180 million years, and his talent was monstrous, but he knew how to conduct himself like an old fox. Basically, Gurulai couldn't find many enemies in the human race, no, even in the universe. After all, who would want to be enemies with a powerful saint who often gave them treasures? Wasn't that stupid? From the sounds of it, this person is really incredible. Xiaoping nodded. Just by listening to such rumors, he was simply a perfect genius, with no weaknesses to be found. However, his life wasn't so smooth at the beginning. The Jiyu saint changed the topic. Oh, what exactly is going on? Xiaoping asked curiously. In the beginning, he was just an extremely ordinary clan member in Xianwang City. He was no different from the others, but a long time ago, a supreme saint artifact, the Fortune of Heavens, suddenly appeared near Xianwang City. Jiyu said solemnly, "The myriad heavens fortune diagram is a peerless sacred artifact left behind by the creation saint of the primordial era. Its power is unparalleled, and even an invincible saint would find it difficult to break through. Only mortals can enter. Thus, in order to obtain the good fortune saint's lucky chances, the countless mortals of mysterious Yellow City had all entered the heavens fortune diagram, crazily scrambling for lucky chances. Amongst them was Ancient Relay, and this matter had given rise to Ancient Relay. He had obtained a huge fortuitous encounter in this matter. It was unknown what treasure he had found, but he had actually awakened the great desolate war physique and even given birth to Buddha's eyes of wisdom. It was also because of this that his cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds, and his combat strength was extraordinary, far surpassing those of the same level as him. He could even challenge those of a higher level, and his comprehension of the origin laws of the universe was also extremely fast. Thus, in a short 180 million years, Ancient Relay was able to make breakthroughs without any bottlenecks. Now, he has risen to the peak of the primordial saint realm. He spoke of Ancient Relay's experiences, indicating that his experiences were also extraordinary. Heaven's fortune diagram. Xiaoping's eyes shined. He clearly remembered this peerless sacred artifact, as well as the ancient plans that spanned through trillions of eras contained within the heavens fortune diagram. This was a plan that the creation saint had devised across countless dimensions of time. He had tampered with the pills within the heavens fortune diagram, and his goal was to allow him to one day be reborn and return. And this Ancient Relay's experiences, as well as his cheat-like cultivation speed, made it hard not to suspect that there was some connection between Ancient Relay and the creation saint. Could it be that there's a problem with this bottle of yin-yang extinguishing pills? Is this bastard trying to trick me? Or is this Ancient Relay the reincarnation of the creation saint? Or is he just a chess piece of the creation saint? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He was very suspicious of this Ancient Relay's goal, but now wasn't the time to think about these questions. After all, Ji was right beside him. But if this Ancient Relay wanted to trick him, then this person's intentions were truly deserving of death. What's wrong? Do you think there's a problem with Fengdu's sage? Ji seemed to sense the change in Xiaoping's mood and couldn't help but ask. No, there's nothing wrong with me. I just feel that life is truly unpredictable. I didn't think that the ancient sage was once immortal, Xiaoping said. There's nothing strange about that. The universe is far too vast, and there are countless fortuitous encounters. In fact, we human ancestors, no, even ordinary sages have all come this far because they have had some fortuitous encounters. If we didn't have a shroud of destiny, it would be impossible for us to ascend to the sage realm and obtain eternal life. Ji said, what Ji said is correct. Xiaoping nodded, not refuting. All right, I won't talk about these gossips with you. If you want to understand the ancient sage, it's the same to go somewhere else. His deeds are already widely known. Ji looked at Xiaoping and said, you probably came to the black-yellow continent to find a chance to break through. The black-yellow continent has no lack of universe mystic realms. Each mystic realm is extremely dangerous, but there are also many treasures. There are even some treasures that invincible sages covet. Once they appear, it will definitely cause a bloodbath. But such treasures aren't easy to obtain, and the risks you have to bear are also great. If you aren't careful, Even invincible sages might die in a mystic realm. You've just arrived, so you shouldn't be in a hurry to explore other universe mystic realms. Instead, you should stay in the black-yellow continent for the time being and find a place to settle down. It won't be too late to set off after learning about all the mystic realms. Thank you for the reminder, Jiyu. Xiaoping nodded, putting aside the possibility of Guru Lai harboring evil intentions or plotting something. The Jiyu saint was indeed sincere in helping him. All right, if you need anything in the future, feel free to look for me. I live in a manor in the south of the Black-Yellow City. If you come knocking, I'll definitely welcome you with open arms. Jiyu Saint stroked his beard and smiled. Yes. Xiaoping nodded. He even added the Universe Virtual Network's contact information to the Jiyu Saint. This would make it easier for them to contact each other in the future. God Tier, Great Demon. God Tier, Great Demon. Chapter 2656. One day later, Xiaoping finally found a manor in the Xianwang city. He bought it right away and treated it as his permanent residence in the Xianwang city. After all, if it was a rented house, there wouldn't be enough security and privacy. Such a manor, especially in the Xianwang city where every inch of land was worth its weight in gold, was naturally extremely expensive. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to afford it and could only lament their inadequacies. Even a sage would feel the pinch. However, to the rich and overbearing Xiaoping, it was naturally nothing. He bought it easily. At the same time, he also modified the manor and set up restriction formations one after another. It was like a fortress, so no one could easily break through the defense of the manor. After decorating his house in the Xianwang city, Xiaoping temporarily heaved a sigh of relief. He finally had his own residence in this place, so he could settle down for the time being. System, check this yin-yang nirvana elixir and see if there's any problem with it. After everything was done, Xiaoping also remembered the elixir that Gu Rulai had given him. He had always been wary of this elixir and had never trusted it. He didn't even put the elixir in the book of mountains and seas. Instead, he chose to put it in an ordinary storage space. Beep! In an instant, the system's voice rang out. Warning, warning, this elixir is extremely dangerous. It contains yin-yang nirvana, qi, and endless creation qi. On the surface, there doesn't seem to be any problem, and it even has great benefits for the human body. However, in reality, this elixir has an extremely serious side effect. It contains a mysterious and powerful talisman, the creation soul controlling talisman, which contains the markings of the laws of the gods. It can silently corrode a person's soul. If the medicinal power seeps into every corner of a person's body, it will probably be controlled by the owner of this elixir. This is like a goo worm that can seep into the soul and take root. What? Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He clenched his fists tightly, and a murderous aura surged out of his body. Although he knew that there was something fishy about this elixir, he didn't expect it to be so malicious and malicious. If he were to consume this pill, his life and death would be under the control of Guru Lai. It would be like his soul had been planted in a goo worm, unable to escape and could only become the other party's slave. On top of that, if one thought about it carefully, Guru Lai's benevolent personality was also a pretense. His goal was to create a good image for himself and make friends with the geniuses of the various races. After such a long time, Chi Mu had no idea how many yin-yang nirvana pills Guru Lai had given out, how many saints he had controlled, and how many powers he had in the dark. System, the soul of a sage, is incomparably powerful. Could it be that this yin-yang nirvana pill can also be silently controlled without any detection? Xiaoping asked. Yes, the soul of a saint can't detect it. Only an invincible saint might be able to detect something fishy. But a saint under the invincible realm can't do anything about it. The system said this technique is probably inherited from some powerful god, which is why it can refine such divine talismans. Even the saints can't detect it. Furthermore, this kind of control is also silent and imperceptible. Even a person being controlled doesn't know about it. Unknowingly, the person being controlled will have an extremely good impression of Guru Lai. If the favorable impression reached a certain level, they would probably be willing to go through fire and water for Gurulai and listen to all his orders. However, those who were controlled would only think that they were willing to do it and that they were doing it for the sake of their friend. The other sages won't have any doubts and will only think that the relationship between the two of them is indeed friendly. There's such a thing? A glimmer of light appeared in Xiaoping's eyes. He had underestimated Gu Rulai's methods. Just by being able to refine such divine talismans and hide them in the pills, he could control an unknown number of sages. If countless years had passed, wouldn't the number of sages controlled by Gu Rulai be uncountable? This kind of method was even scarier than Saint Bloodsoul and couldn't be compared at all. After all, this kind of method was silent and couldn't be detected by any sages. It was too secretive and wasn't as violent as ordinary methods, which could be seen with a glance. This kind of method was more similar to the relationship between believers and gods. Those fanatical believers were called fanatics and would do anything for the gods willingly. Maybe this wasn't called control, but brainwashing. There is no doubt that this kind of method was many times more terrifying than control. Of course, the price to refine such a divine talisman wouldn't be small. Therefore, after so many years, the number of yin-yang nirvana pills that Gu Rulai could refine was few and far between. Thus, he had to carefully select his people every time. If they weren't exceptional geniuses, they wouldn't enter his eyes. In fact, controlling an exceptional genius was many times better than controlling thousands of mediocre geniuses. That Gu Rulai, no. It should be saint of creation. What kind of inheritance did that fellow obtain? To actually have such a method? Could it be that he also obtained the legacy of a god? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. To be honest, after he obtained the inheritance of the true devil god, he knew how powerful and unreasonable gods were. They existed within the laws, yet they surpassed them and changed them. Sages simply couldn't contend with them. If one could obtain the inheritance of a god, they would ascend to the heavens in a single step. But if this saint of creation had really obtained the inheritance of a god in the immemorial era, then everything could be explained. After all, this method of resurrection was something that ordinary sages wouldn't even dare to think about, much less grasp it. This kind of plan that could be said to have a slim chance of survival spanned countless years. If he didn't have a huge trump card, how could he do such a thing? Wasn't he afraid that after such a long time, some accident might occur? Therefore, the saint of creation must have a huge trump card. Even if his plan failed, he wouldn't die and would still be reborn somewhere. This fellow is too dangerous. If there's a chance, I have to get rid of him as soon as possible. Xiaoping clenched his fists. He didn't have a good impression of this fellow who tried to control the life and death of others, especially when this fellow wanted to plot against him. This made him even more furious. If there was a chance, he absolutely wouldn't mind killing the saint of creation so that he wouldn't be eyeing him covetously. Moreover, this method was strange and difficult to deal with. Even if this method couldn't deal with him, if it was used against his parents or his loved ones, then what would happen? He had no choice but to face this threat head-on. This pill seems to be hiding a wisp of Gu Rulai's soul and aura. If I destroy it, it will definitely arouse the vigilance of that old fox. I can't easily destroy it. I have to leave it for the time being. Xiaoping originally wanted to crush this yin-yang nirvana pill, but after thinking that he couldn't alert the enemy, he gave up on this action. Chapter 2657. At this moment, in another place in Xianhuang City, it was the manor where Gu Rulai was. He was currently in a meditation room, sitting cross-legged and cultivating in seclusion. The space-time in all directions seemed to be warping, forming a whirlpool that produced a huge amount of the origin energy of the universe. At the end of countless space-time, there seemed to be mysterious void passageways that connected to Gu Rulai's body. It was as if he was the master of all worlds and was receiving the gifts from the boundless space-time. It was as if the power of all worlds was imbued on his body, and his magic power was unfathomable. Whoosh! Gu Rulai opened his eyes, and it seemed like he had ended his cultivation this time. All space-time returned to normal, and the originally vast space-time whirlpool had also vanished completely. Sure enough, this devil seed technique in the Tao heart is boundlessly profound. It uses all living beings as food and the furnace of a myriad of techniques to nourish itself. This is a supreme technique that points directly towards the grand Tao and the path to becoming a god. Gu Rulai's eyes revealed a glimmer of brilliance, and his pupils transformed into black whirlpools that seemed to contain the aura of a devil among devils. They were like black holes that swallowed everything. If some people who were familiar with him saw this scene, they would definitely tremble in fear. It was as if he had become a different person, a devil of all worlds. If an ordinary person were to look at it, they would completely fall into darkness. However, his body didn't possess a devil nature, and at the same time, he possessed a Buddha heart. It was as if the power of Buddha and devil were intertwining and fusing together in his body. This gave birth to a kind of demonic and unfathomable power that was like primal chaos that couldn't be grasped. And interesting, so much time has passed, but that Saint Fiend still hasn't consumed the yin-yang extinguishing pill. Could he have discovered something fishy? Gu Rulai's eyes revealed a hint of coldness, and his killing intent soared into the sky. If his secret was discovered by Fiend, then this Saint Fiend had to die. The secret on his body couldn't be leaked out. It was because he used all living beings as cauldrons and food. Such methods were simply the devil among devils, and no race could tolerate an existence like him. Before he advanced to the realm of gods and became invincible in the world, his secret definitely couldn't be leaked out. Otherwise, there would be no place for him, Gu Rulai, in the entire universe. No, my demonic seed is incomparably profound. It is hidden within the divine symbol and fused with the source laws. It contains the power to deceive the heavens, so it is impossible for a trifling ancient saint to discover it. Very soon, Gu Rulai overturned his previous conclusion. He was incomparably confident in his supreme technique, and it was definitely not something a mere ancient saint could sense. In fact, even a saint who had reached the invincible realm would not be able to discover such a secret, let alone an ancient saint. That was why he dared to do such a thing so openly. The great ancestor of the human clan had tested the yin-yang nirvana pill countless times, but he still could not discover its secrets. This was enough to prove the power of his secret method. It was impossible for other sages to detect it so easily. Since it's impossible to find out, why did that kid take it? That's right. Could it be that he felt that it was a waste to take this pill now and wanted to wait until he was at a bottleneck before taking it? It's not impossible. Gu Rulai thought of another possibility. The reason why Saint Fiend didn't take it now was that he wanted to take it at a critical moment so that it would have the greatest effect. In fact, this kind of thing had happened before. According to the idea of maximizing the effect of the elixir, this method was the correct way to maximize the effect. It seems like I have to keep an eye on Fiend. Although Gu Rulai thought that Fiend couldn't detect the effect of the yin-yang nirvana pill he made, he still couldn't relax before taking it. Only after that kid took it would he feel completely at ease. In this way, no matter what tricks that kid had, he couldn't escape from his palm. On the other hand, in the human clan's holy land, Dark North Saint, Xiaoyao Ancestral Master, Empyrean Ancestral Master, and other invincible saints gathered together. They held a secret meeting to discuss the major events that would decide the future of the human clan. What's wrong, Dark North? Xiaoyao Ancestral Master noticed Dark North Saint's expression. That kid Xiaoping seems to have arrived at the black-yellow continent at this time. Dark North Saint received the news. In fact, all the invincible saints knew that Xiaoping changed his name to Fiend as Xiaoping's master. Dark North Saint was no exception. Therefore, when Xiaoping arrived at the black-yellow continent, his registration information will be transmitted to the human clan's database. As an invincible saint, Dark North Saint naturally received the news and knew Xiaoping's whereabouts immediately. Black-yellow continent. Hearing this, Xiaoyao Ancestral Master frowned. That place is very dangerous and isn't a place for saints near the ancient times. What's he doing there? Does he want to enter some universe secret realm? But with his strength and talent, he doesn't need to go to such a dangerous place in such a hurry. What a troublemaker. Hurry up and ask him to come back. He was a bit angry and felt that Xia Ping didn't know the dangers of the universe. The black-yellow continent was one of the most dangerous places in the universe, and it was full of universe secret realms that could kill invincible saints. In order to conquer this continent, the human clan had sacrificed countless saints, so he knew very well how dangerous this continent was. If a saint near the ancient times came to the black-yellow continent, he wouldn't be looking for treasures but seeking death. No, he's no longer a saint near the ancient times. It seems that he has ascended to the ancient times. Dark North Saint's expression was odd, and his mouth corners twitched. Ancient times? So what if he's an ancient time? Hearing this, Xiaoyao Ancestral Master was about to yell at him, but soon he froze and gaped. Wait, what? You said it again? That bastard kid has ascended to the ancient times? Are you kidding me? He was stupefied, completely stupefied. Ancient times? Not only Xiaoyao Ancestral Master, but the other patriarchs were also dumbfounded and couldn't believe their ears. After all, not long ago, this kid was only an immortal saint. They were astonished that he had ascended to the ancient times and comprehended the law of space at such a fast speed. However, this kid had ascended to the ancient times and comprehended the law of creation in such a short time. Are you kidding me? Even if he cultivated in a spaceship, he couldn't advance so fast. Even though these invincible saints were experienced and knowledgeable, they had never seen a saint cultivate so fast as if there were no bottlenecks in his cultivation. It was really frightening. The human patriarchs were dumbfounded. They didn't know what to say and couldn't comment. Chapter 2658. Yes, that's what the information said. It said that this kid ascended to the ancient saint realm and changed his name to Fengdu Saint. North Sea Saint's mouth twitched, and he looked speechless. In terms of shock, no one was more shocked than him, because he had watched Xia Ping grow up step by step from when he was weak to where he was today. Of course, he knew that Xia Ping had endless potential and would definitely reach the ultimate realm of cultivation in the future. The problem was that he didn't expect it to be so fast. It had only been such a long time, and he had already ascended from the immortal realm to the ancient realm. Even driving a spaceship couldn't be so crazy, right? To be honest, he was a rare genius in countless eras of the human clan. He was known as the genius of the human clan who ascended to the invincible realm the fastest and had countless adventures. He thought that he was almost the son of destiny. But now, compared to his disciple, he seemed so lame. He was depressed to the extreme and didn't know what to say. Is it true? It has only been such a long time, and he has already comprehended the law of creation and ascended to the ancient realm. What kind of adventures did he go through? The Xiaoyao Ancestral Master was dumbfounded. He couldn't believe it was true because it was too scary. How could he have imagined that a kid could improve so quickly? Let me check out whether or not this lad has truly leveled up to immemorial ancient state. Show me the surveillance footage of him entering the Xinhuang land. Using his authority as the old master of the human race, Old Master Kong pulled out the surveillance footage. Instantly, the scene of Xia Ping appearing in the black-yellow continent was shown to the human ancestral masters. Interesting. Indeed, he has indeed ascended to the ancient realm. Empyrean ancestral master squinted his eyes and said, his body seems to be filled with many mysterious cosmic laws. There are traces of the law of time and space flowing rapidly, and there are many karma lines entangling him. It seems like his experience is very unusual, and the place he entered is also unimaginable for ordinary sages. His eyes were spinning like chaos, and he seemed to be able to see things that ordinary sages couldn't. It was a pair of eyes of time and space that had the ability to see through the secrets of all things. However, he found that he couldn't see through the secrets on Xia Ping. It was as if there were countless laws entangling him like a world barrier, and many laws couldn't invade him. Unimaginable place? What is it? Xiaoyao Ancestral Master asked. I'm not sure. I just saw the aura of disaster, destruction, chaos, souls, abyss, and demon, Empyrean Ancestral Master said in a deep voice, indicating that he only knew a few clues. Even though it was just a few simple words, all the human ancestors shivered. Every word contained an inexhaustible aura of fate, enough to make people tremble in fear. All things related to gods were unusual and beyond the imagination of sages. What? It Ping is ancient, divine by Ping divine gods. Did he obtain the inheritance of a deity? A human ancestor speculated. I'm not sure, but it's enough to prove that the fortuitous encounter he had wasn't simple. Looks like it won't be long before another invincible saint appears in our human clan. Excited, Xiaoyao Ancestral Master stroked his white beard. For him, the more top experts the human clan had, the more benefits it would bring to the entire human clan. Indeed, this is a good thing. If he can get the divine god's inheritance, it'll be incredible. No wonder he improved so fast. But it's good that he improved so fast. The war between all realms and abyss demons is getting closer. The more powerful he is, the more likely he won't die. We must keep this a secret. We can't let the top races such as the Demon Clan, Insect Clan, and Elemental Clan know about him. Otherwise, the ancestral masters of these top races will go crazy. The human ancestral masters talked among themselves and set the tone for this conversation. Dark North, it seems you're good at teaching disciples. It's only been a long time, but you've already taught a disciple who has reached the level of an ancient saint. When are you going to teach more disciples so that we humans can have more geniuses? Empyrean Ancestral Master said with a smile. Go away. Dark North Saint's mouth twitched. He didn't even know how his disciple had grown so fast. This kid improved so fast purely because of his disciple's ability. All Dark North Saint did was to let sheep roam the land without doing anything. If he had to take more disciples, he didn't know how to teach them. A few days later, through the information collected by Corinne and the news from the Universe Virtual Network, Xiaoping slowly began to understand some things about the Black-Yellow Continent. The Black-Yellow Continent is boundless. So far, I don't know how big it is. Its diameter is at least hundreds of billions of light years. It's vast and boundless. Corinne said, its cultivation environment naturally goes without saying. It's called a holy land for cultivation. It's full of black-yellow qi. Ordinary cultivators who cultivate in this place will get twice the result with half the effort. Even sages will benefit greatly from cultivating here. It has also become one of the holy lands for cultivation of the human race. In fact, if it weren't for the fact that the Black-Yellow Continent is too far away from the human race headquarters, the journey is difficult, and there are many difficulties and obstacles on the way. I don't know how many humans would have migrated to the Black-Yellow Continent. I know this, but I want to know what secret the Black-Yellow Continent has that attracted so many ancient saints, and even invincible saints to come to this place. Xiaoping asked. It's very simple. It's because the Black-Yellow Continent is rich in universe secret realms. Corinne said in a deep voice. On the Black-Yellow Continent, every huge mountain range may give birth to a universe secret realm. Some universe secret realms are formed naturally by the heaven and earth, but some universe secret realms are man-made. They may be formed after the fall of invincible saints, and some tyrannical universe secret realms may even be formed after the fall of gods. And in these secret realms, many universe treasures are born. These are treasures that can't be found in the outside world. They are simply priceless. Among these treasures, some were extremely rare sacred medicines with astonishing medicinal effects. Some were some unique cosmic ores that were specially used to refine natal magic treasures. There were even some that were naturally formed in the universe and contained the fundamental laws of the universe. It was impossible to name them, but they were connate secret treasures that had great effects. It's also because of the appearance of these treasures that the sages of countless races flock here. Not only the sages of the human race, but even the sages of other peak races hope to enter these secret realms to explore. It revealed the contents of the information it had found these days. Chapter 2659. But don't look at how many treasures are born in these secret realms. These secret realms are also extremely dangerous and contain countless terrible disasters. Even if a saint enters, he may not be able to survive. Corinne continued, even some secret realms are too dangerous. Once invincible saints have fallen in them. Therefore, countless saints of various races are terrified of them. They are classified as forbidden secret realms. These secret realms are scattered all over the black-yellow continent like stars. The degree of danger varies. The easier ones can even be entered by mortals, and the more dangerous ones can even kill invincible saints. But among these extremely dangerous secret realms, all saints and all races recognize it as the most dangerous secret realm. That is the Inferno secret realm. Inferno secret realm? Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. This is a powerful secret realm formed naturally by the origin of the universe. It is also the first secret realm that the black-yellow continent was born in. It seems to be the battlefield of the Archean era. It may be traced back to an even more ancient era. Corinne said in a deep voice, this secret realm is filled with lava and hot power. The flowing rivers are all flaming rivers, and terrifying heavenly flames are everywhere. These heavenly flames are extremely powerful. Once touched by them, even a saint cannot extinguish them. There were once saints who entered in groups. Unexpectedly, a volcano erupted and instantly drowned these saints, turning them into ashes. They didn't even have the slightest chance to struggle. Their souls were destroyed. Speaking up to here, he paused and continued. Moreover, this secret realm is not a dead world. It also gives birth to many powerful, flaming life forms. You can imagine how powerful the monsters that can be born in such a cruel and harsh environment are. These monsters are at least immortal saints when they are born. What? Hearing this, Xiaoping was shocked. Even Gaia, which is blessed by the origin of the universe and is known as the strongest race in the universe, is not an immortal saint when they are born. They still need to cultivate for many years. But the monsters in this Inferno secret realm are immortal when they are born. Yes, although there are few monsters here, they are immortal when they are born. Corinne said, you can imagine how terrifying this Inferno secret realm is. It is said that there are some monsters who have reached the invincible realm, just like the invincible realm saints of the human clan. On the surface, there are only 9 invincible realm saints, and the same is true for other peak races. But in the Inferno secret land, it is said that there are hundreds of strong auras that can rival invincible realm saints. Hundreds of them. After witnessing the power of the infernal realm, Xiaoping no longer felt anything special about the appearance of hundreds of invincible sages. However, this was the modern universe. The current top clans, such as the human clan, only had 9 invincible sages. However, such a secret plane world could give birth to hundreds of invincible sages. It was unbelievable. Of course, the reason why there were so few invincible sages in the human clan also had a lot to do with time. This universe was still too young. It was still in its infancy. Compared to the infernal realm, which had developed for who knew how many years, its foundation was naturally lacking. If one had to compare, then one was 3 years old, and the other was 300 million years old. How could this be compared? Fortunately, this Inferno secret land has extremely powerful laws. Those tyrannical monsters can't run out of the Inferno secret land. Otherwise, I don't know how many lives would have died. Corinne sighed. If he hadn't come to the black-yellow continent, he wouldn't have known that there were so many monsters with terrifying strength in the universe. Although the human clan, the demon clan, the elemental clan, and other races were known as the top clans. In fact, there were still some forces that could compare to these top clans. Not to mention others, just those divine beast clans alone. Their foundation was many times stronger than the human clan and other top clans. It was just that they hadn't shown it yet. However, this is only the strongest and most dangerous secret plane world. In addition, there are some less dangerous secret plane worlds. At least the invincible sages can still come back alive. Corinne continued. Just like the sound stone you use to forge your natal magic weapon, it came from the famous Sound Mountain of the universe in the black-yellow continent. The degree of danger in this secret plane can also be ranked in the top 10 in the black-yellow continent. He looked at Xiaoping. Ranked in the top 10? If that's the case, then how did you get these soundstone? Xiaoping asked. Those soundstone were found in the secret plane world on the periphery of the Sound Mountain. They were just some random scraps of materials. They can't be considered as the soundstone materials produced in the core. Corinne said. In fact, so far, no sages, including invincible realm sages, have been able to enter the depths of the Sound Mountain to explore. It is said that there was once an invincible sage who tried to go deep into the Sound Mountain to investigate. He didn't expect that just as he reached the inner area of the Sound Mountain, he would immediately be killed by a demonic sound from inside, almost shattering his soul. If it wasn't for that invincible sage having a little escape method, I'm afraid he would have died in the Sound Mountain and would never have been able to escape. He said that after this incident, countless sages called the Sound Mountain a forbidden place. If it wasn't necessary, don't go in and seek death. In fact, apart from the sound stone that contained the strange power of sound, this Sound Mountain was a completely barren mountain. No other treasures appeared. This made countless sages lose interest in the Sound Pattern Mountain. After all, this kind of soundstone could at most be used to refine magic treasures. However, not every sage wanted to use soundstone to refine magic treasures. This also caused the soundstone's attractiveness to be greatly reduced. Of course, even so, the value of soundstone was unquestionable. It had become a strategic resource of the human race and wouldn't be sold easily. Only the human race could trade with it. I see. Xiaoping touched his chin. To be honest, he was very interested in this Sound Mountain. This was because if he wanted to upgrade his life treasure, the Bell of Chaos, to a peerless sage artifact, he would need a large number of soundstone. No, it should be higher quality soundstone. The problem was that such soundstone couldn't be traded even within the human race. After all, not many sages could enter the depths of the Sound Mountain and take out these high-quality soundstone. Moreover, he was also very interested in this universe secret plane. He didn't know what kind of secret was hidden in this place and why it had such a mysterious and powerful power. He felt that if he was successful in his exploration, he would definitely obtain great benefits. Chapter 2660. While Xiaoping was studying the information of the black-yellow continent's secret realms, Chong Xiaoqian, Tanmeng Lu, Xiao Jin, and the rest of the children were teleported to a human star region by the Green Bull. They flew all the way to the most prosperous commercial planet in this star region, the Martial Song planet. A group of people strolled excitedly on this prosperous commercial street, especially Destiny Dragon Betty and the other young dragons. They had never seen a place where humans and other major races gathered. After all, they were born in a place where dragons did not exist. Hence, coming here was like coming to a different world. Wow, is this the human world? It's unbelievable. Destiny Dragon Betty was very excited. She looked around like Granny Lu entering a grand view garden. The Martial Song planet was very prosperous. People came and went. Countless spaceships entered and exited this planet. Life forms from various major races in the universe were doing business on this commercial planet. It could be said that although humans were the majority, at least a third of them were from other races. It was simply a gathering of hundreds of races. It was very busy and luxurious. It could be said that it was a place where money gathered. Skyscrapers stood in great numbers. It was full of technology. Boss, I heard that humans are a very terrifying species. They eat anything, including dragons. If they know who we are, will they eat us as well? Dreamy Cloud Dragon Tadish had a look of fear on her face. She kept hiding behind Betty. Hearing this, Memory Dragon Mabel and the other young dragons could not help but nod. They had heard many legends about humans in the dragon world. Those adult dragons often threatened them. They said that if they did not sleep, the humans would rush in at night and eat them all. They were very cruel and evil creatures. Don't be afraid. They're just weak humans. If they want to come, I will eat them in one bite. Destiny Dragon Betty bared her white teeth to show that she was very cruel. As expected, a boss. You are so powerful. You even dare to eat humans. Dreamy Cloud Dragon Tadish and the other young dragons were very impressed. Hee hee, a bunch of country bumpkins. Have you not even seen humans before? Chong Xiaoqian crossed her arms in front of her chest and looked at Fate Dragon Betty and the other young dragons with disdain. She had a sense of superiority in her heart. She had brought these country bumpkins out to see the world. Thinking of this, she asked Tan Meng Lu, Big Sister Meng Lu, when are we going to beat up that netizen? I can't wait to show off my dignity as the Black Hole Worm King. She clenched her fists, indicating that she had warmed up and was just waiting for the right time to strike. Don't be anxious. It's only a matter of time before we beat up those leeches of society, scum of society, single otakus, and those who live off their parents. Tan Menglu skillfully listed the netizens' names. But now that we have the opportunity to come to this planet, of course we have to have a feast. Only when we are full will we have the strength to beat people up. She put on a righteous expression. Really? Chong Xiaoqian looked at Tan Menglu suspiciously. She realized that this big sister was drooling. She didn't have the image of a Taotai at all. No matter how she looked at it, it seemed like she had forgotten about beating people up. Of course. Aren't you hungry after walking for so long? Even if you're not hungry, don't you want to enjoy the delicacies here? Tan Menglu felt that she had been bored out of her mind these days. It was a rare opportunity to leave the classic of mountains and seas world and come to other places. How could she not eat her fill before leaving? Yes, that makes sense. Destiny Dragon Betty and the other young dragons could not help but nod. Although these humans were very evil, their culinary skills were not bad. After all, they were a race that ate everything. They had already studied the cooking methods of various major races and ingredients. Right, let's go to that restaurant to eat. As a Taotai, my intuition tells me that the best food on the entire planet must come from that restaurant. Tan Menglu pointed to the most majestic and luxurious restaurant on the street. It seemed to be completely forged from glass and was dazzling. One could tell at a glance that it was a high-class place. It could be said that this was the most luxurious restaurant on the entire street. It seemed to be called Celestial World. At the restaurant's entrance, luxurious cars would enter and leave from time to time. All kinds of people in luxurious clothes would also appear here. It could be said that those who could enter this restaurant were either rich or of high status. After saying that, she ran over like a wisp of smoke. Destiny Dragon Betty and the other young dragons also chased after her. However, without a doubt, they were all stopped by the waiter at the entrance. Why won't you let us in to eat? Tan Menglu looked at the waiter with an unfriendly expression. I'm sorry. Our restaurant, Celestial World, is the most high-class restaurant on the Marshall Song planet. It's expensive, so I'm afraid it's not suitable for you. If you'd like to eat, I suggest you go to the fast food restaurant across the street, Mackenzie. The food there is great, and you can eat your fill. The waiter smiled and showed a very kind attitude. However, from the vague disdain in his eyes, it was obvious that he did not think that Tan Menglu and the other children had the spending power. He thought that these little brats were here to cause trouble. What? What do you mean by that? Are you looking down on us? You think we can't afford the food here, right? How dare you speak to this king like this? Hearing this, Chong Xiaoqian was immediately enraged. She was the Black Hole Worm King and also the future greatest emperor in the universe. A small restaurant actually dared to stop her from eating. This was too impudent. It should be the other party's honor that she came to eat at this restaurant. Yet, not only did he not immediately welcome them, he even dared to stop them from eating. What a scandal! The waiter was instantly put in a difficult position. He did not know what to say. What's going on? Why are you arguing in such a high-class restaurant? What's the scandal? What if you startle the customers? If other customers hear such a ruckus, they might think that this is some kind of place. At this moment, a middle-aged man with a big belly walked out of the restaurant. He seemed to have heard the commotion outside and walked out of the restaurant. Manager Liu, you came at the right time. These children want to enter the restaurant to eat. I'm trying to dissuade them, but they're still stubborn. The waiter immediately reported the situation. I roughly understand the situation. With just a few words, the middle-aged man, Manager Liu, roughly understood the situation. He revealed a professional smile. I'm sorry, little kids. Our restaurant is a membership-only restaurant. We never accept other kinds of customers. If you want to eat, I'm afraid you'll have to go somewhere else. Of course, if you still want to cause trouble, I'm afraid we'll have to call the police. Although you're still young, I'm afraid your parents will come. You don't want to get into trouble, right? Chapter 2661. What do you mean? Are you threatening this king with these words? Who else in this world is bigger than me? You want the police to arrest me? Don't you know that the police station belongs to my family? Hearing this, Chong Xiaoqian immediately flipped out. This, Manager Liu was stunned. He had never seen such a hot-tempered little girl. However, looking at this little girl's temperament, wearing a crown on her head and ordering people around, it seemed that she really had the temperament of an emperor. However, the restaurant's rules put him in a dilemma. Walala, at this moment, Xiao Jin, who was standing next to him, waved her hand. Suddenly, dozens of gems fell from her body and clanked on the ground. Immediately, these gems bloomed with dazzling light, blinding the eyes of countless people. Even the passers-by on the street couldn't help but look over, because the light of these gems was too dazzling, too frightening. Each of them was like a star, shining with dazzling light. Even the surrounding people couldn't help but notice it. I want to eat. Is this enough? Xiao Jin was expressionless. She pointed at the pile of gems on the ground. Oh my God, this is Auslicon. The waiter pointed at a fist-sized gold nugget and trembled all over. Legend has it that a piece of Auslicon is a super metal refined from millions of tons of gold. It is extremely precious and can be used as a material to refine the core components of the Universe War Fortress. Just 1 gram is worth 10 million universe dollars. Such a large piece of Auslicon is worth billions of universe dollars. He said that he had only seen the real Auslicon from pictures on the internet, but he had never seen it in real life. Not to mention this fist-sized Auslicon, it was simply terrifying. Damn, this Auslicon is nothing. A passerby at the side was dumbfounded. He pointed at one of the pieces of metal, and his entire body trembled. Do you see that fist-sized piece of silver? That is Phoenix blood silver. Legend has it that this metal has been contaminated with a trace of Phoenix blood. It is said that even sages have used this Phoenix blood silver to refine saint tools. This is a material that belongs to saint tools. What? The surrounding people all sucked in a breath of cold air as their bodies trembled. Materials to refine saint tools? Just hearing this name was very frightening. Its origin was beyond their imagination. As mortals, they had never seen materials that could be used to refine sacred tools, not even in their dreams. This, Manager Liu's body was already trembling like a sieve. Although he had worked in this restaurant for decades and had seen countless high officials and nobles, he had never seen such a scene before. However, he had never seen such a precious treasure. Just this piece of Phoenix blood silver was enough to buy tens of thousands of shops in Tavern Heaven on Earth, or even more. By now, how could he not know that he had met an unimaginably big shot this time? The value of the things he casually took out was so frightening. Heavens, it's not just the Phoenix blood silver and Oriskin. There's also the 9 heavens meteoric iron, the earth crystal, the 10,000-year black crystal, and the jade falling stone. These are all top-notch cosmic materials that even sages would drool over. How much is this worth? How much is it worth? What a joke. It can't be measured with money, because this is a treasure that can't be bought with money. If you have to calculate it, it's at least worth 1,000 Marshall Song stars, and you still have to ask if the other party is willing to trade. The passers-by around were discussing and amazed. They had seen people flaunt their wealth, but they had never seen people flaunt their wealth like this. Who had seen the wealth of thousands of planets placed in front of them? And what? Not enough. Is this enough? With a clatter, Xiao Jin waved his hand and took out a pile of cosmic ores. He poured them on the ground as if they were free, and they were piled up into a small mountain that was half the height of a person. She blinked her eyes and looked at Manager Liu in front of her. Enough, enough. Take it back. Grant, you could take back your magical power. Manager Liu was scared to the point of peeing. He was sweating profusely. Just the pile of cosmic ores just now had scared him so much that he didn't dare to say anything. That was a wealth that could buy thousands of Marshall Song stars. Even the big boss behind Tavern Heaven on Earth didn't dare to act rashly. Now that he took out a pile of cosmic ores, wouldn't he be scared to death? He was just a small restaurant manager, not a big shot. How could he withstand such a shock? If such ores were taken out, any one of them would be enough to hire a killer to kill his entire family dozens of times. This was the power of wealth, the real power of money. Moreover, he also saw the excited and greedy eyes of the passers-by. It seemed that they couldn't wait to rush up and snatch it. If these precious ores were stolen here, how could he, Manager Liu, bear the consequences? Even if he sold himself, sold Tavern Heaven on Earth, he still wouldn't be able to compensate for such a loss. Really? Didn't you say that this place is a membership system and we can't go in to eat? At this moment, Cheng Xiaoqian stood up arrogantly and looked at Manager Liu with a look of disdain. What a bumpkin who had never seen the world. He was scared to this extent just because of some money. If these guys knew that Xiao Jin was her finance minister, wouldn't they be even more scared to move? Thinking of this, she felt even more comfortable. If you can go in, of course you can go in. With your status, it's a matter of course for you to get a membership card at this restaurant. It's also my honor to be able to invite you into this restaurant. Manager Liu didn't dare to say no. If his boss knew that he refused to eat with such a top boss and even offended the other party, he would probably tear him apart. Even if his boss killed him 8 to 10 times, it wouldn't be enough to appease his hatred. An existence that could take out such a treasure was not someone he could afford to offend. The waiter was also scared half to death. His face was pale, and he couldn't say anything. He felt as if he was sitting on a bed of needles. It's good that you can go in to eat. If we don't teach you a lesson, you won't know how powerful we are. Cheng Xiaoqian put her hands on her hips. Distinguished guests, please come in, please come in. We already have a VIP box waiting for you. Manager Liu said hurriedly. He didn't dare to let these distinguished guests stay at the entrance because there were more and more people watching. If this continued, he didn't know how much trouble it would cause. Okay, let's go in quickly. I'm starving, Tanmeng Liu said impatiently. With a wave of his hand, Xiao Jin collected all the precious ores on the ground. When the people on the street saw this scene, they immediately restrained their gazes. After all, under such an environment, under the watchful eyes of so many people, no one dared to rob. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Soon, Tanmeng Liu and the other children entered the restaurant of Tavern Heaven on Earth. Chapter 2662. Not long after, Tanmeng Liu and the others were led by Manager Liu into the most luxurious private room in Heaven on Earth. It was resplendent everywhere, and only the rich and powerful could enter. What dishes do you have here? Tanmeng Liu asked with familiarity. This is our menu, Manager Liu said like a pug. He wanted to explain in detail, but Tanmeng Liu waved her hand. Forget it. I'm not interested in listening to you. Give me 100 of each dish on the menu. She held up a finger. What? Manager Liu was dumbfounded. He had never heard of anyone ordering like this. Isn't that a little too much? Fate Dragon Betty was also a little surprised. All right, I almost forgot. You guys haven't eaten yet. At this time, Tanmeng Liu suddenly realized and seemed to remember that she had companions beside her. She said again, "Oh right, give each of them one dish according to the menu. Betty, Cheng Xiaoqian, and the others this." Manager Liu was stunned and didn't know what to say. What are you still doing here? Hurry up and order the dishes. Are you forcing me to go crazy? Tanmeng Liu said fiercely and stared at Manager Liu. Yes. I'll go and order now. Hearing this, Manager Liu didn't dare to be stunned anymore. He hurriedly nodded and obeyed the other party's orders. Everyone, don't be so polite. Just treat it like your own home. Eat and drink as you please, Tanmeng Liu said casually. Fate Dragon Betty looked at Tanmeng Liu with disdain. You make it sound better than singing. It's not like you're treating. On the other side, the news of Little Gold taking out a large amount of precious universe grade or spread quickly. Many forces on Martial Song Planet knew clearly. They also knew that a fierce dragon had come to Martial Song Planet. After all, she could easily take out such a treasure. One could only imagine how terrifying this little girl's background was. Did you hear? A group of children appeared in Heaven on Earth. They can easily take out Olas, Phoenix Blood Silver, and other precious universe-grade ores. Of course, I heard about it. I was there at the time. Just the ores that little girl took out were enough to buy over 1,000 Marshall Song Stars. It was too scary. Where do these kids come from? How could they have such amazing treasures? Do you even need to ask? They must be the direct descendants of some ancient family, or even the descendants of a sage family. Otherwise, how could they be so rich and overbearing? It seems that we need to remind our descendants not to offend these little ancestors. Otherwise, we don't know what kind of big shots we might provoke. Those big shots are not people our Marshall Song Star can afford to offend. The upper echelons of many forces were in heated discussion. Wealth represented power and influence. A person who could take out so many treasures must have an unimaginable force behind him and an unimaginable power. Some factions wanted to befriend Xiao Jin and the others, but others wanted to take advantage of them. After all, money was very tempting, and Xiao Jin and the others were just a group of children, which immediately aroused their greed. However, these forces were basically not human forces, but forces of other races. Most of the forces that wanted to befriend Xiao Jin and the others were human. After all, this was the territory of the human race. If they offended the sage of the human race, where could they run to? However, the forces of other races were different. They came to Marshall Song Star to do business. If the business did not go well, they would have left long ago. Therefore, their roots were not in the human race's star field. They could evacuate at any time, so naturally, they did not need to be too afraid of the human race's sage. Did you hear? Today, a group of kids near heaven on earth actually took out a large number of universe ores. Each piece is priceless, and some are even materials for refining sacred tools. How could we not hear such important news? We already knew about it. Just the amount of universe ores that she took out is priceless. It is said that there are many more that the little girl did not take out. With so many treasures, I think even the sage would covet them. Which family's direct descendant is this rich? Such precious treasures are actually carried by a group of children. Aren't they afraid of being robbed? I guess that group of children has an amazing background. They have long been used to being domineering. Or maybe they are well protected by their families and have no idea of being robbed. The experts of some forces were discussing among themselves, and their eyes were filled with greed. Interesting. If this is the case, why don't we do it? If we can take all the treasures from that group of children, then we will be completely rich. We won't have to work for the rest of our lives. A glimmer of light flashed in someone's eyes. Obviously, you wanted to rob them. Isn't that right? We don't need much. Even one of the ores is enough for us to spend countless years. Moreover, that little girl has so many ores, it is enough for us to share. The problem is that the force behind that little girl is not simple. If we take action, I'm afraid there will be no place for us in the human territory. We will definitely be hunted down. Stupid to the extreme. Can it be that we can only survive in the human territory? After obtaining so many treasures, we would have long fled to other territories, such as the star territory ruled by the demon race, the star territory ruled by the elemental race, and so on. We are not humans at all, so there's no need to hang ourselves on this tree. That's right. No matter how powerful the force behind that group of little girls is, as long as we do this, we will immediately escape. No matter how angry that super force is, the universe is so vast and boundless. We can hide anywhere we want, and they won't be able to do anything to us. It is not impossible to do this, but those little girls are not to be trifled with. On the surface, they don't have any bodyguards nearby, but I don't believe that such a powerful family doesn't have any protectors. Indeed, once we take action, I'm afraid we will have to face the experts of the super force behind those girls. With our strength alone, we will only be sending ourselves to death. We will all be cannon fodder. Many powerhouses were in a heated discussion. They also wanted to do something, but they also knew that things weren't that simple. No one in this universe was a fool. If those little girls had the backing of a super family, even if they didn't have any bodyguards on the surface, there would definitely be protectors in the dark. After all, any parents would not feel at ease if such young children were to go out. They would definitely set up complete security measures in the surroundings. If they dare to take action, they would definitely suffer a head-on blow. Chapter 2663. Don't worry about that. I've already found helper. At this moment, a powerful being spoke up. In truth, the moment this matter happened, I immediately reported it to the master of the force behind me. That person is a powerful saint whose strength is unfathomable. It expressed its interest in the little girl's universe grade, or within it were treasures it had been searching for many days for but couldn't find. Its value was simply immeasurable. This lord even said that if necessary, you can directly summon it, and it will personally attack and kill all the treasures in a single strike. What? Many of the foreign race experts were shocked and in disbelief. They had never thought that this matter would actually alarm the saints. It could be said that the level of this matter had completely risen. Even though they knew that the little girl's treasures were priceless, and that even the sages would covet them, they didn't expect the sages to be so shameless as to personally make a move to snatch them. May I know who this lord is? A foreign race expert asked cautiously. It's the fierce tiger great sage of our demon clan. It said that its strength has reached the middle ancient realm and has comprehended the law of space and time. Its combat power is unfathomable. Even among the sages, it's an extremely powerful existence. That expert was filled with admiration and idolization. If the saint of the demon clan were to fight in the human territory, I'm afraid it would violate a great taboo. It might cause a conflict between the human clan and the demon clan. I'm afraid that's not good. A foreign race expert said hesitantly. That's why we need you guys to make a move. That lord is our final safeguard. If we really can't snatch the treasure, we can only summon that lord. Of course, that lord has already made preparations for this and has considered the consequences. At most, he will never set foot in the human territory again for the rest of his life. Anyway, as long as we act fast enough, even the human race sages won't be able to react. Then, Fierce Tiger Sage will be able to escape easily. Once we return to the demon race's territory, no matter how angry the human race is, they won't be able to do anything to us. It was full of confidence, indicating that it had already thought of all the plans. I see. Many alien race experts couldn't help but nod and understand the other party's plan. It could be said that the Fierce Tiger Great Sage's attack was only the last line of defense, and the main force was still them. However, once the Fierce Tiger Great Sage made his move, it would mean that he had shed all pretense of cordiality. Of course, don't worry. As long as you help the Lord acquire those universe-level ores, the Lord will definitely reward you handsomely. He definitely won't let down everyone's hard work. A cold glint flashed in the eyes of the foreign race expert. Of course, if you want to take advantage of us, or have other devious ideas, or even want to leak the news of this plan, you will anger a saint. Think about the consequences carefully. It's useless even if you hide to the ends of the universe. The experts of the foreign races were stunned. Obviously, these words were a threat, and they were using both the carrot and the stick. This also meant that they couldn't refuse this plan. Understand, it is our honor to work for you. This group of foreign race experts was helpless. They had been forced to board a pirate ship. In the blink of an eye, 3 days and 3 nights had passed. Tan Meng Lu, Chong Xiaoqian, Xiao Jin, and the rest of the children had already stayed in the celestial world for 3 days and 3 nights. They were full of energy and had been eating nonstop. Large amounts of food were being delivered to them like an assembly line. The chefs from the celestial world were practically exhausted to death. Even though they had high cultivation, they couldn't handle 3 days and 3 nights of cooking. Such high-intensity work. They had wanted to protest against such actions. However, once Tan Menglu flew into a rage, they didn't dare to resist. They could only obediently cook for Tan Menglu and the rest of the children. These few days, it could be said that they were completely exhausted. At this moment, around the private room, there was already a small mountain of plates stacked up. The surrounding waiters were simply dumbfounded, because even after eating so much food, Tan Menglu and the rest of the children's stomachs were still deflated. They didn't feel bloated at all. In reality, this was to be expected. Tan Menglu was a monster. As a Tao Tai, her stomach was a black hole. There was also Fate Dragon Betty, Black Hole Worm Xiao Qian, Golden Slime Xiao Jin, etc. They were all powerful beings. Their appetites were not something that ordinary people could compare to. They could easily eat for 3 days and 3 nights. That was simply too easy. Not bad. The food here is not bad. I just ate a little. Consider it an appetizer, a snack. Tan Menglu said casually. After finishing the last dish, she expressed that it was just a snack. Snack. Hearing this, all the waiters, chefs, and managers in Tavern Heaven on Earth were scared half to death. They were sweating profusely. If these food were just snacks, then what would the main meal be like? It couldn't be a month, right? Even if they were a restaurant, they were also out to do business. The more the customers ate, the better. However, if they continued to cook with such high intensity, it might kill them. Enough, Sister Menglu. Don't tell me you have forgotten why we came to Marshall Song Planet. If we eat and drink here all day, those bastard netizens would have already run away. How can we beat them up? If we don't show up, I'm afraid those netizens will laugh at us to death. Can we still raise our heads in this lifetime? We don't even have a name to back us up. Chong Xiaoqian was already a little impatient. She clenched her fist. Hee, do you think I'm a boss for nothing? Don't think that I've been eating these few days. I haven't delayed my business at all. I've already arranged for those bastards to come to Marshall Song Planet's Central Square for a fight at noon. If they don't come, then they're cowards. Tan Menglu chuckled, indicating that even if she was eating, drinking, and taking a dump, she could still do a second thing at any time. This was all because of training. All right, I almost forgot that Sister Menglu has developed a multitasking skill because of playing games. You can watch TV shows, play games, eat, drink, and even copy homework at the same time. Nothing is delayed. At this time, Chong Xiaoqian also remembered the godly skill that Tan Menglu had cultivated. It's good that you know your boss is powerful. Tan Menglu stood with her hands behind her back, looking proud. Sister Menglu, then what are we waiting for? Let's hurry up and move. I can't wait to beat those bastards into pig heads. Chong Xiaoqian shouted. She wanted to show off her majesty as a king. If she didn't show those idiotic netizens how powerful she was, she wouldn't know why flowers were so red. Let's go. Tan Menglu revealed a very ferocious expression. She had already eaten and drunk her fill. It was time to get down to business. Keep the change. Xiao Jin stood up, expressionless. He casually threw out a piece of Ola skin. Thank you, boss. The group of Tavern Heaven on Earth staff were grateful. They were all convinced. Chapter 2664. Marshall Song Planet, Central Square. Under Tan Menglu's lead, Chong Xiaoqian, Xiao Jin, and the other children arrived at the Central Square aggressively. This place could be considered the largest square in Marshall Song Planet. There was a huge fountain in the center, and trees were planted everywhere. The trees were lush, just like a park. Many people from Marshall Song Planet would come to this square to stroll around. Big Sister Menglu, will those guys really come? Do they stand us up? Chong Xiaoqian looked around, trying to find those game bullies. However, there were too many people around. No matter how hard she tried, she could not find any opponents. It's best if they stood us up. That way, we can laugh at those cowards. Let's see how they're going to survive in the gaming world then. I'm going to ruin the reputation of those ** stars. Tan Menglu put on a confident look, indicating that she had already made preparations. If the group of game bullies dared to come, she would teach them a lesson. She would let them know how powerful she was and how cruel society was. If those guys did not dare to come, she would put this matter up on the internet and let everyone laugh at those cowards. No matter what, she would still win. Indeed, whether they come or not, we're going to win. Chong Xiaoqian immediately felt that she was in an invincible position and immediately felt relieved. Hee, you want to ruin our reputation? Dream on. Don't think that you're the only ones who have the guts to meet us offline. If you want to fight, we'll accompany you to the end. Come out. Let's see who's afraid of who. At this moment, 4 or 5 Lolas appeared in front of them. They looked to be 7 or 8 years old, and all of them looked like dolls. They were carved from jade and looked very cute. Although they weren't very tall, all of them were wearing big-toed sunglasses. They looked like bosses as they walked over aggressively. The group of Lolas had clearly heard the conversation between Tanmenglu and the others. Hee hee, wearing sunglasses when you're out for a fight? Are you that shameless? Tanmenglu sneered. Who's wearing sunglasses? What kind of look is that? We have dark circles under our eyes, understand? Hearing this, one of the blonde Lolas exploded in anger. What? Dark circles? Chong Xiaoqian was shocked to hear this, and a solemn expression appeared on her face. As expected, the dark circles under your eyes are so big that they look like sunglasses. This is the result of playing games overnight for at least a month. This kind of willpower and mental strength is not to be underestimated. It looks like you guys are not ordinary people. Not bad. It seems that there are still people here who know what's good for them. They can see that this lady is not ordinary, unlike that flat girl who has no vision. It seems that you're the boss here. The golden-haired lowly was very satisfied with Chong Xiaoqian's eyesight. You also have good eyesight. You can actually see that this king is not ordinary. Chong Xiaoqian immediately revealed a sympathetic expression. She had already kept such a low profile, but he was still able to tell that she was the true monarch. As expected, no matter how she tried to conceal her aura, it was impossible to conceal it. Who's the flat girl? You have such a poisonous mouth. Looks like you're that sharp-tongued woman. Remember, you're not only poor, but also ugly. Tanmenglu was going crazy and glared at the blonde lowly. That's right. You can even see through this. If I'm not wrong, then it's the game fanatic. None of your business. Eat your rice. The blonde lowly revealed a look of confidence. Hearing this, Tanmenglu was shocked. You actually know my game ID? Where did you find out? She felt that her background had been seen through. Haha, of course, information is the most important thing in the game. Only by knowing yourself and your enemy can you win every battle. Otherwise, why would you dare to come out? Do you think that we agreed to fight you guys casually? Of course, we came prepared. A blue-haired lowly beside her was holding a huge book in her hands. She exuded an intellectual aura. That's right, I forgot to introduce myself. My game ID is sadness is not a reason to cry. Stupid is. She told him her online username. So it's you, you bastard. How many times have you ambushed me? You kill me every time you revive. This time, I've finally found a real person. Chong Xiaoqian immediately yelled and rubbed her palms together. It seemed like both old and new hatred had been ignited. Stupid, of course we have to kill everyone in a battle. Do you think we'll give you a chance to fight back? Use your walnut-sized brain and think about it. If you can't understand this, then don't play games. Go back and study hard. Classes are the place for you. The blue-haired lowly said disdainfully. What? What a vicious woman. She's telling me to go back and study. Chong Xiaoqian seemed to have suffered a huge blow and was a little autistic. Xiaoqian, don't be scared by her. She's just bluffing. Don't be afraid of her. Tanmenglu encouraged Chong Xiaoqian. Xiaoqian, is it your name in real life? If I'm not wrong, your ID should be, the world is not wrong, not me. The blue-haired lowly looked at Tanmenglu and the others and said, I also know your ID like the back of my hand. They are, you know nothing about fate. You can have everything in your dreams. My biggest weakness is my memory. She pointed at the fate dragon Betty, the cloud dream dragon Tadish, the memory dragon Mabel, and the other dragon whelps. She seemed to know Chong Xiaoqian and the other dragon whelps like the back of her hand. Oh, and you. The blue-haired lowly looked at Xiao Jin at the end, and her expression seemed to become very serious. You're our biggest enemy this time. Your ID is being expensive is not your weakness, but your weakness. What? This guy is that despicable, shameless, and despicable tycoon. Being expensive is not your weakness, but your weakness? Hearing this, the golden-haired lowly and the others behind her were shocked. They looked at Xiao Jin in disbelief, as if they were facing a great enemy. It's this bastard who made us suffer the most serious defeat and setback in our gaming career. He made us face the darkest day of our lives, and almost made us give up the game and go back to study. The reason why we agreed to fight this time is to settle the score with this shameless tycoon. The golden-haired lowly clenched her teeth. Thinking back to what happened in the game, she still felt that it was a dark day. This tycoon was their strongest, biggest, and worst enemy. On that day, the few of them were in high spirits. They dominated the gaming world and were invincible. With their superb gaming skills and deep understanding of the game, they occupied the top 10 of the gaming power ranking. However, on that day, this shameless tycoon, being expensive is not your weakness, but your weakness appeared. This bastard descended from the sky on a colorful cloud, wearing the famous 6 god equipment in the gaming world. His attributes were so strong that it made people's hair stand on end. This bastard didn't know anything. He only relied on his good equipment and 1 slash. In the end, he killed them with 1 slash and emptied their HP bar. They attacked this tycoon who was standing still and even self-destructed, but this tycoon was completely fine. He only lost a drop of HP. This bastard was innocent and looked at them in confusion. On that day, their beliefs collapsed. What positioning, what skills, what knowledge of the game, all turned into nothing. No matter how much training they had, they couldn't stop this tycoon slash.